You were. I didn't have as many as you did.
I didn't start out with as many, but I ended up with as many as I had.
Did you?
I started out with 10, I ended up with 20.
Wow.
Because they
So
split.
how much money did you have?
Oh, I got 170 pounds. 5-gallon bucket of honey weighs 60 pounds.
You weren't lucky enough
And
to
I got
have
4
shooting
buckets.
on Monday. When you had to take the.
Oh, I know,
planning.
I know. I got them done. I got
Thank you,
them done
Brian.
and they were checked.
And thank you, Harold, he's worked really hard on
Yeah.
June, July, and August.
Second set of eyes. Found all my spelling
Did not have
mistakes.
the time. He's not finished some, he has some work to do, but he's closer than we were.
Yeah, we're gonna work on that for next month, so you don't have to.
We'll send Harold, is that what we're doing for the next planning commission?
I don't know, is that better or worse?
Nah, he does a good job of taking notes.
Oh, then you're hired.
Oh, well, I had a meeting last night, and she had the minutes, what she come in this morning.
Yes,
You're on
yes,
it.
I do.
That's what we love.
Well, you know what?
It's best when you don't rush.
That's right, that's why I go back in the next morning.
And Harold, all the little positions, we'll do that as they arise. That's since they're on.
Oh, yeah, okay, well, it was on his.
Is it on his?
Yeah,
The good news is,
I don't know. how
As they arise?
Yeah.
I thought you
that's-
said
no,
to put
that-
it under,
No, he has, the,
now I just drive around.
on the agenda it says, review and appoint vacancies.
great, yeah.
It only took 45 years.
That wasn't on the email.
It didn't have to be on my agenda.
No, that's fine. I figured I'd be down lower anyway, so
Good
that's
thing I
fine.
finished that damn bridge. The devil was really painting on there. By the old mill end. Man, that bridge was 2 months. We had
Yeah,
it
so what's
it's done.
we haven't done that. Oh, yeah, maybe we did.
You know my email down there.
I did.
That's the one
And
on
I'm
that
gonna take another shot when I send it. I'm gonna try to address it,
Oh, no.
because I want that to be.
I just want to
We're
use
using
it
that
once,
what's
what's he doing, like
Let's reuse federal funds.
chip half of the road, or what is it?
Oil and chip, it's a slurry seal
Okay,
contraction.
yeah, I did not get that new one.
Yes, so
You said-
that's what I'm
It's
gonna
with better traction.
take another shot at it. And I
Don't
think that
crash
we're
around the
clear.
corner and then drive.
Because
Our
they're
teachers,
always
we
doing
follow, municipal bidding procedures, and that's.
Just waiting for line and safety.
Yeah, these.
And that's all they're gonna do, is that one section?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't convinced him that I'm right, but
Yeah, that's all. Just do it.
if it goes awry, he's gotta defend himself.
They bought that house there. I would never bought that.
My wife has the same complaint.
And it is, it's very.
We haven't go down there, go down, the 5 to get past the heat.
I'm a stubborn son of a bitch.
That's part of when you turn right on White Bear, you're heading towards the Turkey Hill. And I said, if you continue to go 35 an hour, you're gonna end up in somebody's blues.
And that's because people are afraid of them. I get it. You can't fix stupid either, you know? It seemed like we had 2 accidents in order. And it was young kids, one was, you know, they think they are, you know, they play these computer games and they think everybody can take these jobs and not make it hard and stuff.
Folks, we're on YouTube under Robeson Review. Can't make meetings, it's being broadcast live, it's recorded. You can access that without a link and no request. Response has been overwhelming. Did get a question, overwhelmingly positive. Did get a question on the cost, and I paid for that. It's not a township budget item. which certainly helps with transparency and allows the residents to be able to see everything live. When they come to order, there'll be an announcement about executive sessions, and I've had ongoing opposition to what I consider the improper use of those executive sessions, as I think the business should be conducted before the public, whenever possible.
All right, it's 7 o'clock. We will call the September 14th Robeson Township workshop to order at 7 o'clock. We pledge allegiance and moment of silence for all military personnel.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will, I'll quickly say, roll call, Mr. Steve.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Here?
And I'm here. Then I would like to announce we did have 2 executive sessions, one on August 31st and one on September 7th for legal and personnel issues. On that note,
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, and additionally, there were at times items where the board strayed into issues that were non-executives. They include the budget, which is not an executive issue, as well as a few other issues.
all right, now, on that note, we're gonna go into executive session at 7:01 to discuss some legal and personnel issues.
Folks, we typically, in the past, have asked the public to step outside, and I, for one, didn't think that was appropriate. If we appear a little sweaty when we come back, we go to the garage, rather Spartan accommodations. It's hot down there.
Is the video keep recording while you're in session?
Yes, you can stop that if you'd like. Just make sure it doesn't get tampered with.
Thank you again for helping with the notary, that was awesome. It's not a problem.
Don't see how the others.
And then we'll have to figure out
Try to pick up
forward,
some
although, you know you're here, but we'll see what happens. How you guys doing?
How's the honey business?
Oh, it's
It's a sweet business, isn't it?
I got about 170 pounds.
Wow. Will you be able to sell all that?
Probably not, I'll give it away. I'll give it away to most of my doctors.
Yes.
Tell them if they don't give it a lot, there's no more honey.
I tell you, your insurance is pretty good stuff.
Is there any reason that's positive for a crowned yellow jacket nest to leave it alone?
Other than the fact that they'll chase your ass around.
I know.
You would have to pond somewhere closer, you would dive into the water.
I got 3 on my property, I ran over those today, and I'm
You
thinking,
wanna stay away from that.
they are nasty.
They are coming with, the honeybee will not come after you.
These are the little suckers.
Yeah, but they're, see, they don't have bars.
Yeah,
The honeybee can sting you once and then it dies.
yes. I know, I got nailed more than once. I got 3 in-ground nests, and some of those nests have an opening that big.
It's like 8 times. You got a piece of work.
It's a round yellow jacket, and they're,
You know what they're good for? Gasoline.
yeah, I
and
know,
match.
I know.
Those 2 things go hand in hand.
Yeah. Well, I got 3 of them, and they could help me here.
For us, we just finally got our single axle
How do you like the paving job at your neighbors?
I drove by it for the first time this morning.
That's good. Yeah,
That's good.
He always has a nice driveway mix. It fits together very nice.
Yeah,
There's a back
We,
door.
they did my work, like, they did the original,
We're 3 hours trying to get these.
Paul Roberts, that's a name that goes way back. Over 50 years ago, he wrote my driveway. He used all my
Whoever saved the front end of
with the
it.
base and then 2A,
And we stopped paying for that.
modified.
And they wouldn't let us in.
I got tired of digging out the ruts and filling them in, so
You're not gonna dig a trench with it.
Sonny's crew came up and did it initially.
How long did you have the stone driveway?
But I've got a clamp on the money, I'm not letting it.
I had the stone driveway
I'm not very sure. I only wrote 2 checks in the month of August.
Flower.
71.
One was for rent and the other was for.
And I don't know how many,
Sorry, there's that before.
oh, there must have been at least 500 tons of more than that.
That Maria
He kept running the tires and it was a short hop.
Yeah.
He could 2 an hour.
Well, how long is your driveway?
Very good.
From road to, it's just about 800 feet.
Oh, I
thought
was
it might
on
be
a phone
longer.
call with the,
No,
some
no, it-
people in the United Kingdom.
It's about
They want me
800.
to take a job.
But the house is just about in the middle. I think it's 12 or 1400 feet deep.
We do what we can, otherwise.
And we put it back.
I told them, like, listen.
Now, there was 2 hills, we took the second one.
Oh, which one do you want to do?
Oh, it's
You closed the pool yet?
stuff I did for
What?
4
Did
years.
you close the pool yet?
No, it's still 76 degrees. It's warmer than here.
Yeah, but the leaves are a problem now.
Yeah, I know, I cleaned the skimmer out a couple times a day. You close yours yet?
No, probably another week. We're going away next weekend, so probably the following weekend.
No, I, 10 years.
You know, like, joy over.
But the.
Wayne and Kirsten
I
are
was in
living
Philadelphia.
on
I had
one
corrugated
Saturday
board
before the
plants,
season.
responsible for, which is the general manager.
Chloe.
I had
And,
400 people.
we have
working for me.
their dog overnight,
And
and then Sunday we're gonna have the family
I had a
picnic.
$40 million business.
I haven't talked to
I
her.
had,
How
I
old
had
are we?
34% of the entire
Good.
She is,
Philadelphia
well,
area market.
the guy, they have a rotation,
Customer was
they
Kelly.
do for new people,
Landis.
and
When they were on full
The
run,
one
they
that
took 6 trucks a day.
once her said, we don't need to do the rotation, and she'd like to do the rotation for the organization before she, but she's in the engine testing division.
We don't go there much.
Chapter 11, and then they were employed by another company,
Gas
so
and
they're by
electric
another
tester.
company, merged with another company.
That's pretty good business.
Maybe one time.
And she loved
Last
her
week,
work.
what bank I use, I
They
use
like her,
Wells
so-
Fargo.
Good.
I said, but
Or another company in Michigan, well,
it started out as Hamilton Bank.
She'll be all right in the Michigan winter. Winter doesn't bother her, does it?
no, no,
First year,
no. She demolished a couple cars. Only one.
That family's accident record.
Only one.
Called it the FU Bank.
Ah,
Well, you know, I was saying it was starting
Trying to catch up
a little bit worse than your story. You didn't have to travel.
We're out there.
I was based in Palo Alto,
We
California.
had a party,
And I had 3 plants that I was responsible for. So, the first week, second week of the month, I fly to Austin, Texas, and stay there for a week.
her husband
Then from there, I would
is
fly
from
to
Coach.
Waukegan.
So he promised the team to
From
have
there, I would fly to Portland,
like
stay there for
2
a week,
weeks
and
ago.
then back to Palo Alto. It was cold.
It was only 70, but they were in the whole time they were there.
Everything was going on, that was the plans.
That's, you know,
Business was,
my
contract
father-in-law, it
manufacturing.
doesn't get used to, so we just don't use
All
it.
kinds of different.
We have people over, and we all hang around it. Nobody goes,
Yeah, nobody did.
not since
I'll tell you
William.
what, Will and Chloe were in it forever. Taryn and Kirsten
Whatever,
were in it
whatever the
forever.
hell it was.
Matt, she loved to be in it, but I said, bring your friends, you know.
I had a little
I'm keeping this thing filtered and cleaned, and
present my budget.
I did put a new fence around
I
it.
was gonna do.
Yeah, that
So
worked
I'm
out
sitting
pretty
there,
good.
they had just given me these two other plants.
I just put some more shelves
Which was just like an
decking up
anchor
in the-
around my neck.
in the barn, in the
So-
garage, so I can get stuff off the main.
They asked me, said, how much, what are you gonna do? I said, we're we're gonna consume 220,000 tons of paper.
What do you think of,
You do your thing, you check.
White Bear Road
everything
down
else.
there?
And the White Bear is
Is it deliberately a little rough?
Yep.
That's what I thought. People
They
ask,
were gonna make it.
like I said, they probably did that because of the hill and the turn.
Because of different places we got with the crash.
That's
And so
exactly what
they
I
asked me
thought.
what I was gonna. what my
Tenant
thoughts
drive like
were.
sand.
I said, I'll probably-
How did they get that rough? I mean, it's a double
It's a
application.
double application
You know
of
what
a
they said?
type B microsurface, which has a bigger stone.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They gave me an extra 2 million.
Because, I know Brecknock's been doing that for a double application
Most of
for at
that stuff
least
is national
8
accounts.
years.
But we've changed, I've tried to change all of our oil and chip to double application too.
Yeah.
Because what
It
happens
probably
is some of
lasts
that
another-
business lowers your
Well,
conversion.
It does, and you don't get as much bleed through, you
When I
know,
first
the
started, I
oil
was
coming up.
Yeah,
through
you
the
see
stone.
the,
I was
the oil
consuming
lines. Yeah, I know.
6 railroad cars of paper a day.
So,
That's a lot of trees. That's a lot of trees.
I had, really bad, especially when half the township is nothing but tippy cars. Like in the summer, like, as a given summer, you can ride a motorcycle anywhere in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
period, like everywhere.
the last couple of years, the state's done a lot too, so.
Yeah, 724.
You look good.
We,
But,
and they did a lot more,
Like our president.
they did a lot more in northern Berks County, so there's a couple townships that we work in everything with oil and chip.
like they took the dirt roads up there now and just put tar down in the dirt
Come
roads
visit.
there.
You missed it, you missed it.
Just visit.
I know.
I miss the people, I miss.
Things start down.
I was.
Hopefully it won't be too much longer.
Wait, it's not.
So when I
I
first
was
How you doing,
started
Ryan?
out.
I'm still mowing grass.
Me too, so far.
You know my lawn.
It's early in the meeting.
You know my
Let's
lawn.
get home and see some of the Eagles.
How was that on tonight?
All 6
Was
acres.
Faith, was Lily's on tonight too?
Learned how to
I
live
think
with
Chris really taking control of the TV.
We only have 2.
Yeah.
I got 10 on the
Or I'll say, like, I'll say, is the game going on? Well, you better head back to the bedroom now, so you're on the big TV.
Oh, I
Like,
know,
this
I wanna-
TV's bigger. I'm like, well, the better TV.
But right now, I'm mowing brown, a little brown grass, a little lower.
So,
I
Now
hope
we have a list of.
maybe one more mowing, maybe.
400 out of 1,000.
That's what I do.
How long does it take us?
Oh, I break it down. I only do 2 hours a day.
And I think. he
One
was-
tank of gas is 2 hours, so I just look at the watch
But
when I
maybe he's
start.
closer to you.
2 hours later, I quit, fill the tank up for the next time.
Because everything's
Good thing
based
you
on.
You know what, I've worked with people who are.
What do you do?
I used it last today.
So I actually started working.
I'll be glad. That's the only thing I like about it.
Years ago.
Back in 25 years ago.
I like it in the beginning to get it to me. And then after a while,
I got chicken legs.
Yeah, and I sent her a list of, well, you don't remember too.
Automatic displays.
As long as she knows.
Try about a 3-foot section.
Yeah, I hope the daughter's feeling better.
Oh, it's been a rough go.
It is, you know, and especially when it's your kids, you know what I'm saying, but anyway, so then you came back.
I did.
I had an Mitsubishi Flex.
Then he must not have been too bad.
It was called the Lightbulb. It could take,
He just
it
doesn't
would,
treat
it
me
would
very
convert,
nicely ever since I met him.
it could
I
set
don't know why, and I don't care.
in 45
I'm
seconds,
not tolerating it.
45
What are you
seconds.
gonna do?
And could run
I'm not gonna go work for him, that's
30,000
for
rounds
sure.
You couldn't even see it.
Now, so do you
I wonder
live
what
on the
they're doing
end
today.
of town road? So, okay, so you rent that one.
I'm the one with the
No,
gold
they-
jean.
what they
See,
did-
you said that, and I'm
that
like,
I had,
sometimes it's just like,
when I started there,
Yes.
100
And my husband is the one with the
the
truck.
bigger
It's all
truck,
but
yep.
now there's not even 60.
Well, it's probably fixing
Objects
it,
trucks.
I'm sure. I have 3 sons, and we have
My
Yes.
son-in-law.
projects. Yeah.
He used to make
Thomas is still
packets.
toasting.
He designed packets.
Well, for a while, my kid was driving me to work, so
He
but
said,
right now,
unbelievable, you know.
all three of them, their cars are working, so I have my car. I don't know if you noticed a little scooter for sale down there on 724, right to the left. I told my family, you know what, I'm gonna buy that, and whoever's car's not running, that's what you have to take.
My husband told me I should buy that. Tried to tell me.
And they
Because you don't
kept
go
going,
far.
And I was
they
like,
would load up
no.
I was wondering if you have to have a motorcycle, I have my license, my husband has his, but the kids don't. I wonder if you have to have a motorcycle license, somebody said it was the size of the engine, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know either, but you might, it's small, it's cute. You know, on nice ones, it wouldn't be horrible, but as we got older, I prefer, like when we go on vacation, I prefer to use my vehicle and the air conditioning with my stuff, and, you know what I'm saying? You're so vulnerable,
So,
you know?
we go camping a couple times a summer,
And,
we pull a 40-foot camper with that.
Oh, wow.
That's-
I think I saw it in your,
Driven
in
in
the
my
yard.
driveway.
Yeah.
But we have
on the other side.
So,
Are they grown, or are they
so,
still?
they're 6, 8, 14, and 14.
Oh,
Used to go to
goodness.
these places.
So I take the two, and they're all girls. So I take the two 14-year-olds in my nice car with the air
Running
conditioning.
Milky Way.
And he takes the little ones.
And he takes the little ones in the truck with no air conditioning in.
They don't care.
You don't have any,
So,
Oh my gosh, they used to have little ones, they're still cute, they're teenage girls.
Yeah.
Got a couple of years. It changes, the boys go through it though too, like my girlfriend was just saying, her mom's son, she, you know, we love her kids, but she goes, right now I'm not liking them very much. But they go through that phase of, you know, they have to be the opposite of whatever you're saying.
they're
As soon as
like, I love you, so it was to go over there.
Separate.
Some of the chocolate feeds have a double chain to heat
Like
it
a
up
lover.
so it doesn't.
Oh, that's
See that? And then when we just leave her over, it's just,
It costs us.
there's a lot of crying.
I had Frito-Lay, I used to go see one.
Oh,
So
okay.
I have one, so maybe it's very-
I gotcha.
Yeah, there's a lot of crying in the house all the time. Yeah.
We used to,
Is there
a lot?
we had reports that we had to do in
Ducks
phone company.
and marigolds.
And we had to strive.
I've never seen too many
for
ducks out there.
5 nines in all conditions.
They're kind of
At
On the other side,
on
maybe,
the other side of the house.
gotcha,
9,
in pens or
9.
something.
They're,
So we were allowed one
they're kind
missed
of
call
like
out of
road
10.
where the gate.
Yes,
Out of 10.
And I have those little sugar trees. They're in there.
so I just didn't notice. I haven't been walking, now that's cooling down, I'll probably start walking again. But for a while there, the humidity,
Yeah.
and now with
Head of the containment
management there, the girls need me, you know what I'm saying, I'm not too far. And they're only there part-time, so I gotta be there, so if somebody pulls the parking lot, I can run back in, or, so it is what it is, and we'll see how it goes.
A lot of the
They seem to like
So I
using
could
this.
call
They're
my
protected.
As
production
long as they're
manager.
protected, because they're all, you know,
Nothing seems to
critters that
bother
you
them.
get.
We're
Ever
ahead.
since the 150 straight back.
And their mouths struck open.
Red Sox living.
You have control of it? I said, yeah, I can't run a plant, not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, and how many of them
I
are
just can't do anything.
What happened to this
They
box?
have inside all kinds of pictures. But there's an outside one that looks just like our one, inside one.
What happened
You're
is-
trying to be sitting on the counter.
Whoever picked it up
Outside, we're just going back.
just sucked the life
And you're
right
gonna
out
call
of
them
it.
and
There's
she
no,
opens
there
up
was
under
no
the counter.
repair parts,
Dad in the back.
everything was
She
moved.
opens up in the back.
The machinery's
I
obsolete,
need to see what her house is.
and,
He said they make more roads there in 10 years.
because that guy's inside, who had tried
Because when you walk out, because our front door's on the
He wanted to buy it.
When you walk out and turn.
And I told him I'd help him.
Her house.
I said, but you gotta, I hope you got some money, because they're probably not an analog roll, and rubber roll.
Yeah,
Actually
like,
do what
You
you
have
know.
grades that hasn't
he's
been-
been working on it.
You don't know what
You
it
got
is.
it. If you can't run good drinking, you can't run good boxing.
You guys need to
You better go be in business.
like, I'll send a guy, I'll send a guy right away.
He could
He
make
called
it.
me. Little Barry already called me, he goes, he did what, forgot what you got.
That was a
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Jack,
Do you want the paper or not? 'Cause you're
Yank
definitely
went there
right
with
now.
wow.
So do you think
Well,
she's
you
saying
sold them all the trucks.
I remember that. Truck goes to the battery, it's just, it's in big call.
So-
That was devastating.
More or less freezing them out.
Lost the jobs just like that.
Wow.
Yeah, cause they didn't know.
What about this person over here? That was
And it was a big
3
fucking
shifts
film.
and 150 people, which was all those chemicals. Oh, when they made the dyes over there. And so I was a little kid. I was an overnight shop. I worked there for 1 week. You still see the scar there. A drop of water came out to the rain. Landed on my finger. Still a scar. This is like 50 years ago. That's it for me.
He was very socially.
They closed up like that too.
I mean, yeah, I did run a fire.
They closed.
Yeah.
It was,
They were talking about, I could get it done today.
Well, we're trying to get these guys to do something with the property down there.
Right.
Well,
Wrong.
yeah, well, this one's.
Joe was my boys would drive me to work, you know, and in the morning we'd like, oh, there's the morning meeting, because they're all on the road, well, not all of them, but a couple.
And they wanted a case because the company that
See, I
owned
never
it
drove down there,
wanted to sell off the.
and I kind of walk wide, and I like animals, but I don't know
And
if they
then-
have fleas or anything like that. My mom just passed, my mom just passed away this year, it's horrible, dealing with all this stuff at
Was
work,
gonna
that's
go somewhere else, but.
So we inherited her dog, so
What's the name of that company?
my brother took the cat, well, she wanted.
Well, it was all house company that had it, but I had a whole report.
And, I don't like fleas now.
When you talk about it,
That's one of the
I
things.
I could take probably 5 feet out of this time of year because of goldenrod.
Yeah.
There's those yellow flowers all
Yeah.
over the
Don't
place.
look good, I wasn't sure.
That's good for animals.
I know because in they're stealing.
Now they've got a GPS, you put in with a eye.
I would too, I was gonna suggest that.
Wasn't there a lot that were lost that were supposed to go to back to California? Don't they bring the California bees the other way around?
1.7 million hives go from this part of the country out to pollinate mountains. Miles and miles and miles.
Right.
Okay?
The only thing you can do.
And one of the reasons they're like that is because almonds grow in a very acidic soil.
Suggesting that.
And the acidic soil is caused by, they take salt water and they use salt water and put out fires, so the ground gets saturated,
But
it
the
lowers
codes
the
guys,
pH.
very
Nothing
nice,
else
he
will
has
grow
worked
unless
with
you
She
level
just,
the
she
pH.
loves
It's one of the things I love about
So he was really nice about it, and,
beekeeping
see,
was
you
the
can
fact that
come,
you really got you involved with flowers.
cat,
You know more, I know more about flowers.
something, like I forget the whole phrase I
Yeah,
never
because of beekeeping.
you have to go through a state or something like that, so I think he gave her the information.
Right,
That she
When
was
the
interested
new
in doing
owner
that.
They go out
She
and be on their
would
way.
do
they
that.
lowered their taxes
This feral
quite a
cat
bit,
sport,
and then when they
whatever.
knocked the buildings down,
I mean, I don't know if she's required to take those kids.
it was on the landlord.
That was a
I
guy.
don't know.
Yeah, who's the, I can't remember all the particulars. You know, there was a railroad spur that went
That's
in
what she
there.
told me.
Off that road. There was a railroad spur that
I was telling him, I have one of the places I had,
Do they still,
6 railroad cars up
do
here
that?
today.
No, they're definitely.
And I had
Okay.
spurs inside my
Oh,
Ford.
okay,
And
Two
okay.
spurs, I put 5 cars on one side, 5 cars on the other. And unload 10 cars a
Is
day.
that what they
always
do?
kittens down there, yeah, they cut you to say what you off.
So you know
6,000
that they've been
pound
neutered.
98
There's
inches.
always just a ton of
Well,
kittens.
that's, she told them that she.
I thought the digital version was supposed to eliminate the need for paper, but I think it's greater now, but it was.
You know what they're all running. Half
Now,
the
doesn't her
companies,
daughter or something across the street?
Something like
Cut
that.
Canadians and these, some kind of relative.
Some relative.
the Amazon,
Yeah.
the Amazon
Yeah.
goes from 350,000.
Yeah, on his side, it's on his side for sure, but I just don't know
Yeah.
counting wise how many.
They're the big kahuna, they're everywhere.
Sad.
That's why we've been fighting the warehouse.
Someone has
and
to
all
do
that.
it, something has to.
Did you see, I just was
You have
at
to remind
the
me,
chicken
it's not
farm, and that back road where Amazon is
And then it's like, you
on,
know, it is.
it must be a quarter of a mile of Amazon,
Like she's going somewhere and getting the cats and bringing
The
them back.
warehouse that they were trying to put on, they were trying to put on the French Line Road, so that person line road.
yeah.
790,000 square feet. And they're gonna have parking spaces for 1,500
I
employees.
think that's horrible.
And he
It's just
anticipates
a big job now.
66 tractor trailers a
Or
day.
did, you know, they keep their dog and they just take them to the woods.
And where they gonna get off? They're gonna get- What I told these guys is that they're gonna get off at Greenville, you're gonna need,
You know what I'm saying?
you're gonna need a cop at Greenville. every day,
or helps them.
Don't hire.
every day,
She's going
every
about
day.
it the right way,
Because there's
in a way that's good for
the
you.
apron coming off in 176. It's not that long.
She'll be back up.
They'll be back up.
There's food.
The people in Pine Hill can't be able to get out.
She's in bad health, she's
I went to the zoning.
they called an ambulance because she didn't want to.
Fighting, hand speeding.
So she went outside,
The doctor.
really.
Right.
And I was like, well, this is
And,
2 years ago.
We started talking about alternate ways, about going down 724 to get to where, Old Dominion is.
They only got a path
We're,
from here to here,
get on
here
it,
to there.
get on it. Can you see
And we have
tractor
a
trailers running down
running
that road where you got a wall on one
Oh, I
side and a
know.
rear gate on the other?
You know what I'm saying?
And then the other
Frustrating
part
because the next
was
thing you know,
coming
it's all
down
filled up again.
Rehabilitation
And she
Hill.
worked, she was her money, she didn't have a husband.
In January, February, and March,
Whatever
it's
she
gonna be a
wanted.
mess. You
But you're buying so much stuff.
So they
you
have
have to save money to find
Oh,
food.
well,
Do you
well,
really
no,
need
what
more
they did
books
is
and nightgowns?
they had about 10 hearings, and everybody did testimony, and this and that. On the 25th of July, they came out and voted in 5 minutes, they accept the project, and now it's in court.
Well, remember they did the zoning change for the Reading Hospital when they were gonna build that annex across from the
How
old
does she
race
feel about
lines
filling
property?
that out?
She's okay with it.
That's for
Really?
sale
But
now,
then
well,
it's
you
like,
know, like Tower
it's a
Health was.
continuous.
Well, the culprit behind all
We're
this,
down there.
this mail shark.
Like, hey, where did you get
You
this
know what
from?
mail shark is, right? Mail shark is the guy that prints all the stuff and sends it out in the mail. He's responsible for 90% of your junk mail.
And then by like.
You should have sent those guys over to extra, they have a big light industrial zone area, nothing to see.
They had,
She's like,
mail shark
boys back there.
had 168 that they were gonna build a facility to expand their facility. Well, they dicked around and dicked around, they needed the property. They needed
We
the
have that
space.
too, somewhere
So
road
they,
or.
so they bought another piece of
It's not
property.
turning I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
And 6 acres adjacent to that property. So they put that in there. Whitman's compliant, he had 8 or 10 acres left. He didn't know what to do with that, was adjacent to that property, so they put it all together.
It was, well, I think they figured out,
Nobody
now it's
follows
just
that
books
about,
and
where's
nightgowns.
the workout?
3 people put it together.
So nobody bothered with boxes.
Mail shark bought the other 2 pieces. Then it went, then the zoning changed. It changed it from agricultural to light industrial.
Like flip flop kind of stuff.
The property value went from $1.5 million to 8.
This is gonna be a long night.
And mail shark took out an $8.5 million loan. So everybody got.
I would miss that, if I was filming.
Everybody got grease except for the residents, they've got grease already.
When you bring in a box,
Different
box,
ways.
you have it, out stuff, you get a new.
Whatever.
No, we went to at least 6 or 8 zoning board meetings. And they were trying to say that warehouse was
20,000,
was
like,
gonna
it's, I know,
enhance the
like,
property values
I remember
instead
my
of
youngest son,
deteriorate the property values.
he loved the pictures, that always look at nests.
Well, they hired a chief guy who went around
It's,
taking
it's
pictures
kind
of
of cute, but it's
places
also annoying.
that had warehouses that were just put up adjacent to residential.
It's personnel issues, right?
We noticed there was no difference
Oh,
between
okay.
the prices
Okay.
before the warehouse and after.
Then the warehouses is being.
Yeah, but.
And even though this doesn't, you do,
That means that they're gonna have to unload 20
My thing would be-
a trailer.
I'm like, which ones do we watch on the weekend? I'm like, which one did you
And
use?
that's
He's
just
like, all of them.
that's just stuff's gotta come out on the hand truck. And Amazon trucks.
Right, that's what I would say.
Chewy's gonna do, had a guy from Chewy, the pet place. He's renting part of that, part of that place.
I say, I hope this doesn't take too long.
Too
They're already
In
long
fact, my
enough.
wife went up to the guy from Chewy, and he said, why do you wanna be where somebody owns
I know it was a primary assistant and broker.
No, you did stop or you didn't?
I don't know if it's not one. I don't think it's not one. It's one.
I don't.
So you know, that's a tough position that, GOP put you in. Like, I load everything and.
What are you talking about, unloading? You know what he did? He called me up on a Saturday and he said, I wanna bring this stuff over to your house. You can grab this. I said, okay. He comes over with a box. He sets it on the floor inside my front door and leaves.
I didn't even say a word.
And then, I was trying to get some information from him. Started screaming at me, calling me names, you stupid idiot, all this stuff. I said, wait, what do you got going on?
I said it.
You asked me to help you out. All I was doing is helping you.
You're still on the audit committee here yet, or did you back off of
What?
your audit, the audit committee of Robeson? The,
The only problem is, obviously, the treasurer.
People,
Yeah, I think they are having
Unless the board
he can't.
lets you do something. What I did when I first got in here, I took the pension.
Well, I think it's something that's.
Which the bank.
Starting to say, my kids in 2 years.
Like,
Gets worse, hard.
I mean,
I said,
I can
you know what I
prove
said?
that
I was a multi-employer pension plan. If you got below 70%.
I got that for the first one this year. The first day, I took her down, I drove down and they paid for it. I walked down and she heard the bar.
I left.
I told you guys more than you ever did.
I'm like, oh, there it was, 87, something like that.
16. One day, Mark and Crabs.
How long you guys been
In public, so you know, no, I
Or
did.
take Mark and Crabs. When you went and say, when you happen for a dessert, you know,
I was shocked, I said, I wonder when that's gonna end.
And that's what they're doing.
This place.
It was over. I was here.
He's like a professional.
Yeah, it's like, what was that five-year deal with the bits for 5 years?
Oh, that's what, yeah,
That's what.
the police chief, right?
Yeah.
The police chief, that was, I forget the name of it, but now, that's somebody after.
Where's the man?
Mr. Max's best friend.
I'll just get my
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was gonna say.
I don't get cards, I don't get letters, I don't get phone calls. I have no idea what's going on. I feel like we're
Your own agency.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they're great. We're very fortunate.
That was true.
well, I was taken off once, and I was taken
Oh,
off.
that's right there,
I
yeah.
wasn't. At the reorganization meeting,
Yeah.
at Tim's mouth, the first thing he said was all previous board members notified of their, term expiration. Nobody said nobody did anything, and they took me off and put on somebody else.
Who recused himself, and he quit.
Yeah, I know.
Because this 10 days.
He came to a meeting, why the hell did they keep him on? All he would have had done, he would stay on the show. That's why I did the first one. And that was all Harold, because the guy that put on his Harold's sweetheart.
Yeah, and he bailed out.
That's why he bailed out.
And then we had to go to court.
Oh, yeah.
All I wanted was all the letters, the 9 or 10 people that was on the board. And they all went, interviewed by the judge. So who do you think paid for that?
And then residents call it the township, and bitch about why you don't truck there all the time.
But you don't realize
When
what's
you're-
So they ended up not being able to have it because of.
So, well, you have.
That was when he buried the truck in the yard.
I was there for the peak.
I told my wife, I said, I tore on that.
I'll have to shut my phone off, not read text messages until I get home. I hate missing them, but like if it's like 20 minutes.
When Roger had it.
I recorded it, just don't talk to me, I don't wanna hear anything, I want it, it's like, George came like 6 people texting me, like, Greg, play, did you see that? And I won't look, and I'll go home, and I'll hit play, and then I'll fast forward to commercials. And then when I catch the live, I'll be like, okay, now I'm gonna hit you.
We'll be out of here.
It was worse than the Phillies game, when I get a notification on my phone for like, everybody scores, I'll have it on, I'll go out there, do something weird for like a minute, and that's my wife says,
That's my thing.
she hears me coming to the line, but then I realize I'm like a minute behind, I'll be sitting there, my phone will be like, ding, I'm like, that's the only thing going on. You know, we did.
What somebody before did, this person has to do, whether it's lying or cheating, whatever it is. It's a shame, and people just can't control them.
We went on Exeter, the board meeting, and they had the sheriff escort him out.
Oh, you're
That's awesome.
And they escorted you out.
Just hopefully further the longer time as it
Well,
goes,
it gets
things
better,
will,
you know, Monday
and that
night,
guy will go
they
away.
voted, you're still out.
And has he been married before? And how's his ex?
They're nuts over there.
Oh, good.
I thought I left this place and half my piece of shit. But I guess I was wrong.
And there wasn't a problem with them because they were already separated. Good. Good, that's nice. It's nice to have a good relationship.
Stand the other.
And the kids probably will have better food as well too.
The other guy.
But they have to work with it.
So it's the same form.
How are you with boom bone? I mean, when you cut back, you cut back. When we do that, it runs
10 years.
that's perfect out of their mouth.
40 years with the phone. Kind of stove.
Yeah.
Oh, in Berkeley?
Roughly,
Yeah.
say it's 50%, right?
It's moved right around. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's just so funny how
130
as
Cinder
the
Street
kids
is
grow,
where I was born.
you know,
Yeah.
they're little scrawny, now my boys are all 6'2".
I tell you, I'm gonna go back next year and
They
trim
love
it.
like if I'm trying to do something, they come up like behind me and do and say, yeah.
There was so much like here for some.
I remember that fire.
That was the old lumber yard.
I just assumed that's where like all the deer houses and stuff
Yeah, my husband's on.
That was how
Boys are,
lumber
they're
yard.
not as adamant as they want
And
to
then we
be
bought it
fishing.
and put that other building in and for cable TV.
So before you had that,
Oh, yeah,
That's what I'm saying, I
yeah,
don't wanna work.
we put it
It's
in.
ridiculous.
There was,
Thing was,
there was the lumber yard.
and the next thing you know,
But you go back 10 years.
we disappeared, you know, he's gone.
The old, was the old shoe repair shop.
No.
Next to him was the fire company.
No.
Fire, the
You
old
know,
fire
they're all
company,
together, and
yeah.
I think it's 62 months for social security.
When he left,
I think.
we got called out to it.
No, you get it before that.
15 feet in the
But the longer you wait, the more you
Yeah,
get.
I know.
And then something about,
But Well, if you were that
If
long,
you're still making money, you're limited, like if you reach over a certain amount, they take away from social security, I think that's what the 62 months is. Once you reach that, there's no limit, so to speak, that if you have a job and work, you still get the social security.
I don't know what it is anymore, but,
Yeah.
um,
I have to make it 13.
yeah. That plant's been around for a long time, yeah.
My grandfather used to run the crane.
Oh, good, do.
You remember E&G Brook Iron Company on the river, they're on the ramp.
I knew there was something.
But
about it.
Okay, and they got coke in and they got iron ore, and they smelled it, they made the coal in the coke. And they had a big pig iron plant there, they made pig
Usually
iron.
talk about farmers. I'm working, I heard her talk about cows, I'm doing research, trying to get stuff done. Next time down, I'm like, what's he saying here? Well, now I'm like, I'll answer your question.
One of my grandfathers.
Because after he left, I said that, as far as it maybe I'm being sensitive, and I'm not a sensitive person. I'm the one who's usually solving problems, and okay, we don't go along. I'm like, how did you feel when
Yeah,
I was asking you those
I
questions?
was
Like,
involved with Joanna
I said,
Furnace
okay,
for about
that's what I needed to
30
know.
years.
But back in the last look how, I said, it's not you. He said, well, you guys shouldn't feel special, he treats everyone like that. I'm like, no, still not okay. He said, there's, you should be professional. So that's where I'm going, I'm not gonna put up with it. We'll see what happens.
Well, if you look at
I don't care. I have enough
there's a
friends.
kind farmstead.
Well, I don't think Township should write now, because you work for him, he needs you to do things different. You know what I'm saying?
And
That was back, hopefully it gets better, hopefully it gets fixed.
I mean, that is the location of my 8th great grandfather. And I sit on the board of the Historic Preservation Trust of Berks County that owns the kind farm field, and I'm on the property committee. And they also own the Hottenstein House up in Kutztown, and the House in Holy. And they have along the river in Amity, if you go past the old treatment plant on that road, the White Horse Inn, that's owned by the Preservation Trust. The next building down is the Douglas Mansion,
You know,
and then if you walk that road towards the river,
but honestly,
right is the Lunch Jones house.
and it's the things that he says,
I know to travel well.
you know,
How you figure that out? Next thing I know, you'll be knowing somebody's yard.
he said something, yeah, that's why I was asking.
You know,
What is going on?
you pass shoulder like this, and then the right like this.
So,
I said, if I don't do the bank, I said, it starts from up very top, comes out. And it's not.
all three of us, went in for like a meeting.
I used to eat at Robeson Polynesian House before it became baby dolls. I can still go there. Yeah, I know, but I won't be married. Well, you remember Nick DeSantis' store at Church and Mill?
You know what I'm saying?
And then there was one store out on the other side. Okay, so where Mill Street comes up to the phone company.
He took an online class.
The corner of Mill and Church on this
I was
side
to do a fight.
was Nick DeSantis' store, and he had an apartment building. Okay, I didn't know about the under the railroad bridge, it isn't there. Right after you go under the railroad bridge, there was store.
I said, you gotta come to the fight first, then
Two stores on Mill Street. And then, there was Dome Schoenberger's barber shop on one side. Yeah, I have a lot of that.
How's your wife?
I'll try my
She's doing better.
I wonder whether Mr. Brown is coming back.
Today was finally reversed after 16 months. Give me a sec here.
Hold on, they can use this. Alright, we're back in the negative session at 7:44. And continue with our regular agenda, we have citizens' concerns. If anyone has citizens' concerns, could you come up here, your name, address, please?
My name is Chris Grazioli. I don't live in the township anymore, but my kids do. But I had an incident on Monday with Officer Cooper while I was dropping my son off to school, where I've done it for years. We ride a motorcycle as much as we can. I got to school, dropped my son off, he took his helmet off, put it on my head, because I had nowhere else to put the helmet, so we only brought one helmet. And as he steps off the bike and steps onto the sidewalk, Officer Cooper decides to approach him and question him where his helmet was. At that moment, it scared my son, and he didn't know what to do. And you could just see the fear in his eyes of what was going on, where the teacher actually took him, turned him around, and walked him back into the school. At that same time, I looked behind me, and Officer Rimby, I believe his name was, and looked at me as he's writing my license plate down off of my motorcycle. So then I turned back to Jeb, and I was asking him what he said, and he just said he questioned my son. I was like, you could have asked me. Right here's his helmet, this is his helmet, I'm not stupid. And I approached to leave. I seen the chief sitting across the street, and whenever I talked to the chief, and he tells me that he's just doing his job. I said, well, what's his job? He said, to make him feel safe and make sure he's protected. I said, making him feel safe and was protected, he should have never engaged a 9-year-old kid, especially when his father was standing right there. He should have said something to me. Then I said to him about Rimsey writing my license plate number down. He's like, well, I can do that too, you can do it at any time. And I asked him why, like, what is the reasoning for him? Because to me, it's intimidating. Like, what am I doing wrong dropping my son off? So after that was all done, I proceeded to go to the DA's office to see what I should do. The DA told me to go to the school board meeting, which I did, and after seeing video of the incident, the school board also agrees with the situation that it was done in the wrong manner. So I wanted to come here, because I talked to Harold Steve the other day, and he said he was going to look into the situation, and I'm trying just to see what we can have done about this. He offered me an apology from the officer. I think that should have happened the following day when me and my son went and dropped my son off again, and the officer was standing there. If he felt he was sorry for what he did, he should have came up and offered to apologize then, but he didn't. Now an apology to me is just him being forced by his bosses to give me an apology. I don't think that should happen. I think there needs to be something done about the demeanor of the way these officers stand there, and for the meeting at the school, they're there for security. They shouldn't be looking to do any justice to anybody as far as looking like a car being inspected, questioning a child why he doesn't have his helmet on, because they're not there for that. They're there for security and safety. So I just wanted to see what can be done about that.
Well, when we were in executive session, we were talking about personnel issues, which had to be a personnel issue. So we would have to talk to the chief, see if there's any other information and what he can find, and then go from there. So at this point, we have to go through.
I just wanted to bring it to the attention of
Police officers have a difficult job, sir. The police officers have a difficult
They have a
job.
very difficult job, but
So the child without a helmet seems to me to be an inherent danger. For me, whether you get rear-ended by somebody else, I don't know. I went to Robeson, so
we're in the parent pickup line.
Yeah, right.
We're sitting in the parent pickup line.
I understand the bike can fall over. I'm not here to be arguing. I'm just telling you that the police have a tough job. And then something brought to my attention some unflattering, like, social media posts. Did you post stuff on social media? Maybe what you could do is reread those. See if that is beneficial. See if that would help your son. Maybe reread some of the stuff that you're posting. I don't spend a lot of time on social
I've
media.
read it all, and everybody else has read it, and like I said, the school board even agrees And even Harold Steve said to me on the phone that if it was him in that situation, he would have approached the father, not the child.
Is that what you said, Harold? Is that exactly what you said?
I said I wasn't there, I don't.
He said he wasn't there, but if he was in that situation, you would approach
I
the
was, I
parent, not the
said
child.
you could have done that, I didn't say that's what I would have done.
All right, well,
We
like I
get
said,
very
we'll-
few complaints on the police here. I mean, we
obviously
really
we
do.
have to-
I've been doing this for 10 years, never had a problem, never had a problem. That morning, you can even see on the video that they were trying to get a reaction out of me. They got the reaction, they didn't get the reaction they wanted. I was just doing what I do with my kids. I have all the right in the world to do that with my kid. Bottom line here, the aggression that you're coming at me with is, you're sitting there like saying that he didn't do nothing
I'm
wrong.
not saying anything, I didn't see a video, I didn't
He
see
has
anything.
a
I'm just
very-
saying the police have a tough job, and it
They
seemed
do have
to
a very
me
tough job,
that the child's
but
helmet
at
off.
the same
That's what it
time, he
seemed to
should
me.
confront the parent,
Alright,
not
alright.
the 9-year-old
So,
kid.
alright, thank you, and like you said, we'll see if we can get a copy of the video.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll do the video. We'll discuss that. Any other citizens concerns? If not, then we'll continue on, and in our packet, there's correspondence to review for the Berks County Associated Township officials for 2023 Berks County Convention. There's also Republic Services Consent Order and Agreement dated March 28th. And I don't know if Chief, you want to review C, commendation letter from Officer.
Yeah, I think we just briefly discussed this last meeting, actually.
We did.
Because I had sent an email to the board with this, but it was just relative, they brought it up, one of our officers received a very nice letter from Sergeant Thomas Pika Savage. It was Officer David Ketterer relative to his involvement in extricating a injured driver out of a tractor trailer that was on its side and had hot asphalt in it. And the guy was in a severe pain. So Sergeant Pika Savage, after speaking with his officer that was on scene, wanted to portray that to me, let me know that Officer Ketterer did a job well done.
Thank you. Chief, I can go right into your.
Okay. Letter A on my agenda is discuss a conversation with PA State Rep Mark Gillen. Representative Gillen had actually went to the Township building a day prior and spoke to administrative staff about the board considering posting signs notifying the residents that we have an increased traffic of horse and buggies due to the Amish neighbors moving into our township. Just wanted to make the board aware, and then he called me the next day and discussed it with me. I told him initially, I said, I'm not a big fan of signs. I said, if signs work, we wouldn't have people running stop signs, speeding and all that. But I said, I understand where you're coming from for the awareness. And I said, I'll take it forward to the board that you had requested this. If the board is interested in this, where I have seen the increase of our Amish friends are on Chestnut Hill Road, Route 10, Zion, Miller, Weaver, Moyer, White Bear, Hay Creek, Chapel, and Furnace. So it's a lot of roads, and some state roads, obviously.
Yeah, on Sunday mornings, there's a parade that will come out of Zion on the 10th.
Yeah, and I hear they're buying up, additional properties, which honestly, is a great thing.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So I just wanted to relay that to the board.
Did he say he had a grant to pay for these signs?
Of course not.
I was gonna say, would you want to sign for every road that you just mentioned?
I would say if the board is going to consider the signs, I would pick the roads which have the heaviest traffic, which would be, of course, Zion, now State Route 10 is State Road, Chestnut Hill is State Road, okay? Miller, Moyer, Furnace, Chapel, there are some of the roads where I've been seeing significant increase in I think Weaver. So pretty much half the way.
Yeah, I mean, there's no really speeding on Miller.
No, it's very short. And I will report that we have had no incidents, okay, no traffic incidents, and we haven't had any traffic complaints, okay, relative to it. Just so the board has full awareness.
Does anybody want the chief to see what the cost of at least 1 or 2 signs would be?
Well, actually, I mean, to me, it seems like it would be more important to be on 10 and Chestnut Hill, because those are the roads
From them.
they're the most.
Regular people are.
They're on 10, and we just can't put them out.
No. Right, correct.
Well, why, can we get PennDOT to put them up?
Well, that's what should happen, but that's kind of like pulling in, Steve.
Well, he's a state rep, he can certainly.
I can discuss that with him about the state roads, because like I said, Chestnut Hill and Route 10 are our biggest, and towards Zion.
Yeah.
But that's our biggest area, and two of them, Chestnut Hill, as you know, is a state road as well.
So if you talked to him initially and he brought it up, then yeah, you can just go back and say that state roads, we wanted to post on there.
So we'd be looking at a couple signs of the township deciding they wanted to do a safe design.
I mean, when they pull out a Zion, it's a one-horse buggy, and it's not going up the hill really fast.
Hard for some cars to pull out of Zion.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's, you know, like I said, I'm not, my belief in signs, obviously, from what I had seen over 30 years, but, you know, it's never a bad thing to bring awareness, you know, to the community.
At least 10 has some shoulder they can kind of get over a little bit.
If, you know, maybe not.
Till the warehouse is built.
Yeah, maybe not the regular meeting, but maybe the next workshop, you can have an answer back from him, that we can make that happen.
Yeah, just whatever.
Yeah, no problem.
Whatever he says, that's right.
I'll look into that further. We discussed at a prior meeting about the whole solicitation ordinance, obviously, some redrafting of that, and then, dealing with the signs. I've given the board a list of the signs. Barry Renninger had given us a cost.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah, there's all somewhere.
Yeah, there was an email he sent out. I also brought copies if you need them.
Yeah.
You wanna pass these down?
We didn't have a
Yeah, there was an email. He sent an email and he copied all the board on it, but that's the cost that we do all the signs. If you recall, I think there was 25 signs that I found we would need to put up. I asked him about the other signs, because as you noticed, you remember my original email, I identified some areas that didn't even have Robeson signs, and they had them apparently, because he said this is what we need to do the project.
And a resolution should have been in the works, you know, 2 months ago when we first mentioned this, so I've had another solicitor down my private driveway.
Did you?
Yeah. So there's no reason not to have the.
Yeah, but the ordinance and the fee thing has changed, that's already been
We
updated.
can draft a resolution now that it's.
It's done.
In pretty good form.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, I believe I sent an email to the board, maybe I didn't hit send, but I also, we talked about the no solicitation list. I actually had that on our portal already, I've already developed that, I figured no harm in getting ahead of the horse and buggy.
Well, what does everybody think about $1,151.50 for 25 signs?
What's the PC for that?
Well, I mean, is everybody okay with $1,151.50?
Feel better if it was 500, but that's what it is.
Absolutely. Well, you might wanna do it.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
We authorize, the road crew to, make the purchase of, the solicitation, no solicitation signs, from Miller Municipal Supply Company.
Okay, I'm good with everything you're saying, but should Dennis and perhaps the engineer have some input on that the signs are posted in a proper location as defined by PennDOT?
I think a lot of them, they're just replacing.
Yeah, some are replacing, some are totally missing. I even gave them a list of how many signposts I thought they would need. I try to be all inclusive, including signposts, township signs, things like that. Most of them are gonna go where it says Robeson Township. You know, wherever there's a Robeson Township border, there should be a solicitation sign on it, per my opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
How many motion to it?
Second.
All right, roll call, Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yeah.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item, I gave everyone a copy this evening of an agreement with Northumberland Regional Traffic Service Grant. I'm not asking for action tonight, since I just gave you that this evening. I would like you, if you have the opportunity to review it before the next meeting. And what that is a grant, in which it's a standard state grant that I submit to cover some of our overtime fees relative to DUI enforcement, which would be checkpoints and also roving patrol. That is within our township. This year thus far, we're right around $840 of overtime monies that I've received, and then we've had some since I pulled that stat, so we're probably close to $1,000. So hey, every penny helps.
Yeah, the only thing that's kind of misleading in this is the Northumberland
Yeah.
regional.
Yeah, it is. It used to be, well, they had several names, but no, it is definitely misleading.
That's the way the state's broken the state up.
It's the division, basically, yeah.
That's what I
Breaking it
kinda
up.
figured it was, but I wasn't verified.
Item D is, I'd like to discuss the damage to our 2022 Chevy Tahoe. As you're aware, our Tahoe was damaged by one of our officers, and I have received 2 estimates for repairs. The lowest estimate was for $1,166. I had not filed an insurance claim. We have a report, obviously, but I have not filed an insurance claim. We have a deductible of $500. So this is a decision that I did not want to make without the board. I think the board should make this decision. But my opinion was to just take this out of our budget currently, pay it, rather than reporting to insurance, paying the $500 deductible, and then dealing with potential rate increases due to that claim. But I thought this was a decision that the board should make, not me.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the chief to get the Tahoe repaired at the $1,166.
Second that.
All right, roll call, Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
Okay, thank you. Item E is discuss the probationary status of Officer Schlottman. What I am requesting of the board is to extend his probation by 6 months and also authorize me to take the disciplinary action that we discussed in the executive session.
I'll make that motion.
Second that.
Roll call, Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
Thank you, board. Last item is every year we designate trick or treat night. Just going in line of what we typically do. Recommend a motion to designate our trick or treat night in Robeson Township as October 31st, 2023 from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
What day of the week is that by chance?
I believe it's a Monday this year.
Monday.
Yeah. So it's a Monday. Reason I throw it on the September meeting, if we waited for the October meeting, I'd have about 10 or 15 phone calls waiting for our answer. So now at least we can put it out on our platforms.
You think Monday's sufficient enough for, I mean, I'm thinking people are gonna go out Sunday, and it's like, I don't know.
It's nothing that it's like we enforce, okay?
Okay.
It's just what we recommend, and typically we try to stick with Halloween.
Any words on trunk and treating?
I haven't received anything, any invites or anything there.
You guys, like,
Yeah,
wait a minute.
we're gonna do that again, so if anyone sends somebody over, I'll confirm with you.
Okay, so we can, you know what day you gonna do that?
Same day, same time as the.
Monday or?
Monday, 31st, same time.
Okay, so, well, I guess we could just add that to the website when we post it.
And I'll put it on our portal. as well.
Yeah, and then, I don't know if Plow does one anymore or not.
They usually do, I'm not sure what they do, I could find out.
Thank you for the invite.
All right, so, I'll make a motion that we, designate, our trick or treat night for, 10/31, 23 from 6 to 9 p.m.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
Jeff, was that you the second?
Correct.
Okay.
And I have nothing further unless the board has any questions of me. I talked enough.
You done?
Well, we have finance, obviously there's stuff in the packet. And then we got a budget meeting dates, and I don't want to do that tonight, or wait until next Tuesday, to finalize some of those dates.
I don't know, but we're talking about budget. I heard a news, article today. It looks like the county is losing the state funding for the 911 call center, of which we currently pay 40% of for our calls. And it would cost us 60% more than we're currently paying. So I don't know whether it's a good idea to start beating the ear of our legislators by sending out letters requesting their support into extending this bill or improving it. Improving it would probably be better, because I think even with the funding, if it continues, we're still facing like a 5% increase.
The last time the legislature took this up, they kind of did a half a solution.
Yeah, they,
Instead of doing what everybody was suggesting they do, they took a lesser.
Yeah, they pretty much just left it the way it was.
Yeah, and now it's coming back and biting us again.
But I'm guessing that it would probably cost us another almost 100,000. Yeah. Which is a big chunk. So, anybody on board with sending out letters, or, you know?
Yeah, sure. Do you wanna make a motion for that?
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Who's gonna draft the letters, Harold?
I have no idea,
Well,
but I'll be glad to take whatever help anybody's willing to give.
well,
I don't know, Tim. I mean, like I say, if, I'm the default guy, you know, but I'll take whatever help anybody gives. All right, I would make it a motion that we, send letters of support for, to the legislators to, get the act extended that deals with the 911 Emergency Response Center funding.
Mr. Solicitor, do you have like some generic letter like that you just, in your, you can just print something out?
Not really,
you think,
but-
no?
Well, I have some,
I can help write one if the board.
I have some that I've gotten from legislators in support of projects we've done.
So you just want to tweak that?
I was gonna, and I'll send it to everybody and see what everybody thinks.
All right, so Harold made that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Bitler,
yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
I vote yes. Now, in our packet is a auditor letter from Barbara Higgins to be signed. Now, Sheila, would you want us to do this tonight, or would you okay
You
for
can do it
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Is
Yeah.
that for everybody to read it? And then there's a resolution in our packet, 23-15, for everybody to review.
And I work with Chuck Friedlander, who will be here on Tuesday, to talk to you guys, I guess, about the Gatsby and the different reports that he does.
Okay, Sheila, what's the ARPA for her?
So the ARPA, I was wondering if we would be able to, I already spoke to Jeannie from Irvine for assistance with the ARPA. And I thought maybe Mr. Orlando could help us to make sure we stay in line with what the guidelines are relative to what we can use. I know we'd like to use some of the money for the trucks, but we've already earmarked for the Green Hills sewer project up at Green Hills Lake. So we gotta figure out how much of that.
And the bridge.
And the Rock Hollow Bridge, but keep in mind, we do have money set aside, that we've been putting $100,000 aside, I think it's up to at least $500,000 for the bridge. So we need to look at what we're gonna use of the ARPA money for those things, to see how much is left, and maybe get some equipment for the guys, for the road crew. But I figured we'll talk more about that during the budget process.
Yeah, I think the guesstimates for the bridge are exceeding the 500,000.
Yeah, I didn't know what those estimates were yet, so I couldn't say.
I say guesstimate.
But I wanted to make sure it was okay with the board if I spoke with Mr. Orlando relative to what we wanna do, or if you guys wanna talk to him regarding the ARPA money. And if we can, I believe Harold said that he's pretty sure we can use it for a truck. I didn't know if anyone else knows for sure. But before we even think about doing that, we wanna make sure that we can.
We, the motion that we made to allocate the money was 200 for the Green Hills Lake project, 500,000 for the bridge, and the balance towards the truck.
That was like 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
I
you
didn't
know,
know that information.
everybody asks how we spent more money than we have, but we have interest on that money,
That
so.
was more than.
Yes,
That is more
we're
than-
doing very well.
So, and there should be a substantial amount of money there towards the truck.
Okay.
So we don't really do any motions right now for that.
No.
The grant writer, any updates on the grant writer since you've been?
Gallon said the other day when he stopped in that he had had a need from when he went to PSAS but he was gonna look it up for us, but that we couldn't use that person because she worked for an engineering firm.
Well, actually, on Sunday, I was at Hay Creek, and I talked to Billy Lonza, and he's at South Heidelberg now. And they have found a grant writer
That's right, you did
gotten
mention.
them a grant for a whole bunch of road equipment. Grant I never even heard of or knew existed. I asked him if he could let us know who the grant writer is. So if nothing else, maybe we could place a call besides Heidelberg Township and talk to somebody there and find out who they're using.
Okay, I can do that.
I believe that same grant writer also got police department equipment as well, so I can even reach out to the.
Quite possible, it wouldn't
Thank
surprise me. They found somebody that's good. I don't know how much time he has or anything else, or if he'll do any other work, but it's worth asking anyway.
I'll see if I can help you out, I'll check into that.
Thank you. Yeah, because I think there's some truck grants out there as well, or states money. We get the liquid fuels money and things like that, but that's already allocated for the roads.
Yeah, we can find out the name, of course.
All right.
And then you have the township property, police building repairs.
Well, I'm gonna have Harold speak about that. We've already talked with Dennis and we were looking at the budget and his one line code, he has like almost $8,000 under budget. And maybe using some of that money to paint some walls in there, get a new carpet, do some repairs on the outside. I don't know how much $8,000 is gonna get done, but I think that would be nice if we can do some repairs over here. But it's up to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it was more like, you know, if the road crew has some downtime, paint over the paneling that's there to try and brighten the room up. And, you know, I was looking at the room and I'm thinking, you probably could just do it doing two walls. You know, the two that, like one you look straight ahead and the one to the right, and that would brighten that room up considerable. Now,
Did you have any ideas, chief, or?
One of the big things would definitely be the carpet,
Yes.
you know, the carpet needs replacement. But,
Carpet needs replacing, and one thing that we've talked about for years, and I don't think it was ever done, this building is insulated with a system called Drive It, and it's punctured in numerous places around the building, which allows water to get in behind the styrofoam and get into the block inside and create mold and other types of problems elsewhere in the building. If we're gonna do anything, that should be on the top of the list, repairing that Drive It. Who you got to do it, I do not know.
We'll have to get quotes.
yeah, I think we need to, you know, probably in our budget meetings that are coming up, discuss some of these things to, you know, make the outside exterior look a little better and just actually.
I don't know whether Meister would be a good source, because he's the one designed the building. He may have some
He may
idea
have an idea, yeah.
who might do that kind of work. I mean, I don't know, I'm just,
Well, we can reach out to him.
Yeah.
And I want to take a moment to say that Harold has been wonderful. He's been a great help in the office and helping us get caught up with some of the things that weren't done. So thank you, Harold.
Still won't buy you lunch, Mr. Steve.
Anything else, Sheila, for the finance?
Nope, and I wanna say for the monthly expense report and the treasury report, I was almost done today, so when we send out the regular packet tomorrow to you guys, it'll be in there, that with the treasury reports. I had most of them, I just had to finish the general, and that's the biggest.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
and while we're talking about the reports, if you guys could please give me any feedback whatsoever about those minutes.
Oh, the minutes, yes, please, we've been working on that, but Harold, again, that's where he's been a great help.
That's why my hairline's receding.
Very good. All right, now we'll move down to the fire companies. And I see both chiefs are here. So, I don't know, Harold, if you wanna just explain some, I guess, concerns that you were aware of.
Okay, can you see us back there, Jeff? There's been calls and concerns about the missed calls. And, one incident involved, I guess, an accident right here on this stretch of 724. And I guess Gibraltar was down at the station doing some work and no one responded. I believe that, Daggertown ended up showing up, if I'm not mistaken. So we kind of got some concerns, and we want to try to make sure that we get this working better. And took a course up at PSATs, and there's a lot of moving pieces to this puzzle we need to work together in trying to resolve. So, for instance, recruitment, who do you have qualified to do what, who can do when, where, you know, those kind of things that we need to try to work on and see who has what. So, anybody enlighten me on, you know, or recollect the board?
Scott first, any thoughts, and then we'll go to Jeff.
I mean, the whole recruitment thing is tough, period. We're fortunate to have, I'll say 20 active people. When I say active, you get them today, you don't get them tomorrow. You know, we've been fortunate lately, we have our moments, but getting people through the door is incredibly hard. And we try to educate the public that it's not just heat, fire, smoke, flashing lights. Are you a carpenter? Are you an accountant? Do you like taking minutes? Do you fix drywall? We can use you. Do you just want to help at a fundraiser? You know, we try to educate on that, but as far as the fire side of things, I would say in my 23 years, for every 10 people that come through the door, you get one good person. The others come in and, oh, I have to do this too, and I have to wake up and do a breakfast, and I have to sell hoagies and wash this, and I don't want to do that. I just wanted the cool T-shirt and ride the fire truck, and then off they go. So, is there an answer for recruitment? Money, but we know how that is.
I guess, how much of the fundraisers do you do versus, how much of that budget makes up your budget? That is, I guess, what I'm asking.
So I'm gonna say, without grabbing it, I don't have it in front of me, our operating budget's around $160,000 a year, and that's going light. We're not buying any, we don't have fancy, flashy things. We're not, you know, buying new trucks and new equipment constantly. We're keeping within an FBA spec of the SCBA, the gear that everybody's safe. But as far as that, our operating budget, I'll say $160,000 in front of me. Obviously, we're receiving about $45,000 from the township in liquid cash, I'll say, as a donation, and the insurance and the fuel. So we're probably making up somewhere between $70,000 to $80,000 a year through fundraisers and fund drives. Which,
well, and I guess the cards that were mailed out are a pretty good part of that, but
that's about, I want to say, $20,000 a year we get back on them.
I would expect it to be a little bit higher, but
it goes in spikes. So during COVID, when we tried to make more of an effort we took the Easter Bunny around since Easter was canceled. We took, you know, all of a sudden we saw it, but now that we're kind of back, and an issue I've run into just communication with residents. A lot of transplants from Bucks, Montgomery, Chester, where have you. Well, why would I donate to pay a fire tax? No, you don't. Yes, we do. No, you don't. Yes, we do. Well, I did where I used to. They think that's just natural, and I try to explain it's not. There's not a dedicated fire EMS tax here. That's why we solicit for donations. We do have a good response, I will say, but as far as truth, you want the honest answer, if we could say there's no more 8 hours of breakfast once a month, you don't have to come cook chickens 10 times a year or 5 times a year, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do all these goofy fundraisers just to keep the lights on, you'd probably keep some more people around.
yeah, I mean, I find the fundraisers a double-edged sword. You
It's
know,
a good community event.
They're a way to build community interaction, but they do become cumbersome when you burdens. And yeah, right, that's probably a better word.
The burden's the word.
Because, you know, not everybody wants to participate. I mean, I remember I used to do pork and sauerkraut breakfast, and the last one I did, I couldn't get no help. I ended up talking the whole thing myself. And yeah, so I get where you're coming from.
I mean, in a nutshell, it's sad that in 2023, you have fire departments cooking chickens and making breakfast and hoagies to stay alive. That's a state issue, a federal issue, and a long time ago was failed.
Oh yeah, I know.
But our issue is the excess baggage. You know, they're losing enough time with their families from 500 calls a year, training, meetings. Now you're asking for 20 more hours a month to fundraise.
So I know that there's, I don't want to say help because I'm always leery when it involves the state, but there is a person's job with the state that is designed to help us figure out ways to recruit. But anybody have a problem with calling them and saying, hey, you know, how can you help us, and you know, meet with them?
So Steve, I live right up on Rock Hollow Road here.
I know.
I've been reaching out for the past month to join in 23, hearing that they had their manpower problems. I know I can be a pain in the butt sometimes.
Could you do your name and address, please?
They're 1618 Rock Hollow Road, but they've all gone unanswered. So I don't know what, you know.
Did you say Wayne Steele or just?
Wayne Steele.
Uh,
I just don't know. If you're hurting for help,
who you running with?
nobody. I work part-time for Valley Forge Fire Department out of Phoenixville area.
Okay.
You go down there.
Well, I get paid when I go down there, so. But, you know, I'm a warm body, willing to help. And I don't know.
Okay.
So I need the two of you to answer his question, since.
Jeff, you want a shot at this?
I just don't know how to make volunteers volunteer, you know what I'm saying? The incident you were talking about at the fire company, I had a guy that was loaded, a lit bubble and stone, he had a cooler, I had a beer, so I didn't go in any fire calls.
Okay.
So, I was the guy there, so, but I had a beer, I had a beer with the guy that was working there, and I didn't go on a call. The only other guy was there was the neighbor who was there helping us, so.
I mean, that's fine, but you understand the perception.
Yeah.
You know, somebody drives by and say, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Have you guys given any consideration about, dual memberships? You know, I know that we have people live in Gibraltar that roam in Geigertown. I don't know whether Gibraltar has anybody who lives out in the outer region who, runs with, Gibraltar, but, maybe you can get a little bit more help that way. I mean, I don't know, I'm grasping at straws here. But, I know that there's things that we could do to try to make it better, and you may not be successful, but we can at least try.
I'm still wondering why, Mr. Steele here isn't, on one of the fire companies. If he's willing.
Probably doesn't remember, he was one of my EMT students.
Yeah, I was, we're ready. I don't know if you remember the QRS call outside your house.
Yeah.
Anybody have another?
That's when they dumped them off of my shrubs.
Supervisor Cleveland, any other questions?
What everybody's touched on is the chief call mentioned 500 calls a year. You're probably getting close to that.
We did 509 last year.
Right.
504.
Yeah. When I started 45 years ago, we had 30 calls a year. It was a
We were at
busy year.
80 when I started, so.
We had no QRS calls.
Well, I see that the calls outside of fire have expanded dramatically.
That is a discussion I'm having with Brad Cosgrove from Tower Health. Now that they've gotten back in the area heavier, we're gonna change that. It's too much.
Right, I mean, you don't, and half of them you want really no value to be.
Right. The original purpose of the QRS was because the ambulance was coming out of the borough.
Right.
Or Cooper Township. And Geigertown, we know, is the bottom of the hill everywhere. We had a resident that needed quick medical attention. We were there for it. I bumped my knee 2 days ago and now it hurts and I wanna go to the hospital. We shouldn't be going to that.
Exactly.
That's a discussion we're having.
Do you guys have special needs cards?
Sorry, say that again?
Special needs cards, so you have somebody who's non-ambulatory that you get called out just to help with them?
Yeah, that's normally just ambulance. The only time that would happen is if they were all way out of town and they were waiting on those, out of Boyertown to come down. Of course, they're gonna send us for some support, but
With a 600-pound guy, they can't get out.
Kutztown EMS is going, so there's no more bariatric units.
Supervisor Rhodes, do you have anything, any questions, ideas, thoughts?
No.
Do either of the chiefs have any other comments or thoughts?
My only input for this evening was the trunk or treat, which has been mentioned. We have, I think it's 6 total fire prevention items planned for this month between High Point, Robeson, Lutheran, and Weaver Worship has their fall event. We'll be attending a couple of those Saturdays for fire prevention purposes.
I saw your orders.
Did they send a bill here?
That's it. It's in the bills.
Okay. Is that still a budget item? Fire?
Yeah,
It always was?
when I looked at the bill, I said, what is this?
He called me and Phil.
I didn't order them. I will talk to the person that did that and make sure that there's or I could have said something.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know that years ago, we used to order different things.
Right.
I think with police
So-
orders, so.
Yes.
But I looked at the bill and I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't, as a
Yeah, if I remember right, there was like, I think there was like $500 line item budgeted for fire prevention.
yeah.
And then we used to kind of split it like 200, 250, 250. So, I think that alert all company just kind of auto, here you go.
So, do you guys pool resources to go to like Robeson to do a fire prevention thing or?
Yeah, like, so Robeson Elementary School is in Gibraltar, in their area. I'm not sure if you were invited to Robeson this year. Did you get an invite to elementary school? We're doing High Point, I think, 3 times because they have such a big class. They want to break it up by age. And then we're doing 2 at Robeson Lutheran Church for their, I think that's kindergarten. And Weaver's Orchard, just kind of community, get out there for fire prevention. And Home Depot and Exeter, obviously. So October's a busy month.
Home Depot?
Home Depot and Exeter invites all the neighboring fire departments in.
Okay.
And they do their toy for the kid to build.
Okay.
And then they have a fire prevention. So we normally send like 8 truck over. Just
I know the Eagles are on it, and I know everybody wants to get out of here, but I was also one of the founding members of BUFD when they merged over there. It was a bumpy road at first, but, you know, you look at them now and it's all for the better. I mean,
Well, I don't know, they're missing 900,000.
well, you know, but yeah, but what I'm saying is, you know, volunteerism, and I've seen it straight up and down. I've ran with Limerick Fire Department with Trap Ambulance down in it's not getting better anywhere. And I think maybe it's time that Township puts a little bit of thought in putting a steering committee together or something like that and explore those options. Because it's not gonna get any better, it's only gonna get worse. And I do have some concerns living on this side of Township. I hope they get it together and stuff like that, but you know, every second that your house is on fire is a matter of, you know, whether that person's gonna get out or not,
Especially if you're
before help
there.
gets there.
But,
And I'm not putting blame on anyone,
no,
it's
but
just that.
this is our first step. We want to see whether we can't get more volunteers back in the door and we get things up and running. And, I guess, I think as a community, we need to work on the fundraising thing. You know, it's like, hey, you're getting these cards and you throw them in the trash can. You know, maybe it's more important if you put your $10 in here and as opposed to paying a fire tax a couple of years from now and not having the community support that you need. So, I just think it's a good first step, and I think that we got work to do. And I would like to see you guys put together a list of, you know, who you have as qualified, and then we can start working from there. And I'll call the person at the state and see whether we can't get them to come down and join in the party and get whatever ideas. Just because you have any idea, don't have to use it, but might give you an idea, you can use it even better. I know you've gotten a couple of kids out of our class over to VOTEC, and I think that, well, heck, your daughter was in one of my classes over to VOTEC. But, you know, we need to start hitting that kind of thing too, because you're the ones that are really into it. So I guess Lucas has moved on to better and bigger.
He's with us. Another issue we have real quick on that is you know, Twin Valley Fire Department. Take their fire department, take our fire department. It's like Target and the dollar store. They are just so well funded. They have bunks, they have gym rooms, they have day rooms, they have movie theater in that place. All the kids at Twin Valley that might live in the Geiger Town or even Gibraltar side of town, they're like, why would I go to that cinder block rectangle? I'll go down there.
I believe Lucas was going over there.
Lucas was a member there for a while.
And Bam Bam was over there. Kevin Bamberger was over there.
We compete with their beautiful station.
Yeah.
And if I'm 15, 16, 17.
Yeah, but when you're talking about merger, one of the things that would entail is find a new location for everybody to be housed. And you're into the millions of dollars.
Right.
So, in the case of that, Ed Atkins was the director of EMS over there, and he got a huge grant to fund that place, and then the school gave him real estate. So, I mean, that really worked out well for them. But
it did and it didn't. I think if you're gonna do a little hard, thorough research, you're gonna find out somebody's fire insurance tax went up because there's big chunks of the service area that they have that's now over 5 miles from a fire station. once you're over 5 miles from a fire station, ISO says you have no fire protection. Some insurance companies, not all, because Pennsylvania is not an ISO state. In some states, ISO has the final line on what says ISO. Pennsylvania is not. And companies like, I'm trying to think which, State Farm is one of the worst ones of the bunch. They come up and they go by their own criteria. But a lot of the smaller companies go by whatever ISO says. And if you're over 5 miles, you're over 5 miles. You're gonna get a quote for no fire protection. Even though you may have 4 companies come into your house if something happens, it's still the distance that's involved. So the merger business works if you don't close stations. And the second thing that happened there, if you go back into the 70s and go into the County Planning Commission, there was a study done by the county. They studied the whole county for fire service. And out of the whole county, they found that the county should have 2 more fire stations. One of them is in Robeson Township in the Plowville, Green Hills area. And if you go out there and look, I've done this. I've taken my vehicle, I've gone from your station, I've gone from Morgantown Station or 69 Station, whatever you want to call it now, I've gone from Brighton. And there's a big chunk out Route 10 that's over 5 miles. Well, I think all the Chestnut Hill roads outside of that area lies outside that 5 miles. And I'm not, don't take that the wrong way. No, it's not meant.
And you know, I kind of agree with you. I don't think closing stations would be a good thing if you were doing consolidation.
Not with the size of Robeson Township.
But you don't have to duplicate apparatus as much as you would need if you're working in consolidation.
That's a plus.
Like I said, we'll get them in and see what they have to say, and like I said, we can take what they have to say and use it, or modify it, or just go with it. So.
I mean, the only thing you can do is look at the program that Exeter's followed, where they've gone through a whole bunch of grants.
No, we don't want to follow Exeter.
They're basically.
Their budget for fire is over 900,000.
Okay, there you go.
I don't want to follow that.
You get the safety grant that they have, but then you gotta fund it after the safety grant ends. You have to sign a petition that it's gonna stay funded, and that's a lot of money when it ends.
And state funding ends.
Exeter's run through that a couple times before where they had, they did a thing with college kids, free room and board, volunteer so many hours, then the grant ended, they're like, bye.
Well, you know what they do down where I work, they're doing some property tax incentives and stuff like that for volunteers.
Yeah, but right now, that's all in limbo because, Superior Courts have decided that, the property tax for schools is unconstitutional, so they're now trying to get rid of the whole process. And they just started hearings last week, I guess it was. So, I've seen programs where they actually give you money in an account to help you purchase a home in the municipality. I mean, there's all kinds of programs, but at the end of the day, what's important to the guy that's walking in the door and what's gonna get him in there?
I think first you need to take the burden off these guys that are running, over 500 calls a year. First, that's what.
Well, reduce that burden.
Yeah, reduce that burden to them.
And I
And
think
then worry
probably less than a third of them are actually fire calls?
I couldn't, guess.
I mean, I'm just looking for.
I'll pull you a report for last year.
Yeah, when I look at the sheets, it's kind of the way it looks to me that it's only about a third of them are fire calls.
There's a lot of tree down. You're gonna find a lot of calls for that on there.
Yeah, and I will say the road crew has been very helpful with the trees, because during their Monday through Friday, their work hours, Barry would give me a call, say, hey, don't worry, we'll handle that. So before we were the tree cutters, so they've taken a lot of that burden off.
And then the other thing, I guess, is you guys ought to probably think about, so we have more information. What days or time of day do you have the most trouble getting help? I would assume it's during the day.
Monday through Friday before 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Yep. I can tell you right now.
Yep.
So we're fortunate enough, we have a couple very recent retirees or work from home. So it's not 100%, but it's still helpful.
Well, I was reading about some fire company that actually went around and solicited to all the farmers because they're available all day long. And they got the farmers on fire.
And you spoke about the Amish community moving, and we actually have 2 that all at the farm at Kratz and Fire Tower in Union. They are, and again, they're home all day.
I did training down at Warrenville, and there was buggies putting up with blue lights on.
Scooters and bicycles.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'll take it.
I'm up for whatever we can do to get people into both stations and, you know, we can help each other, great.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I wanna keep everybody, actively volunteering. All right, I've occupied enough of this agenda here. Anybody else have anything?
Everybody said no.
Okay,
Alright.
I'll get back to you guys.
Alright, in our packet, we have the minutes, hopefully we can review. Let's see our report, one of the reports. Tuesday. Now, engineering.
Good evening, board. I had emailed my report out. There's 2 time extensions which will be before you at your regular meeting. The first one's for Cedar Hill Estate. Second is for the deed subdivision project. Item C in my report can come off. There was a request for a waiver from land development before your planning commission meeting Monday evening. They requested additional information before moving that forward, so there's no need for that to be on for you. Also in my report, I have a change order and payment application for what I'm referring to as contract 1 for the street work. This was the street paving contract held by Construction Master Services. The change order is for a reduction in contract cost of $1,584.01. And the resulting payment application would be a final payment for the full current contract value of $333,582.49. Again, that is in my report. Please review it. I'd like to approve that Tuesday.
Did you have any luck getting the rock out of the pipe up on,
I don't know what the guys did with you. They paved it. Was there any action on the rock?
No.
Okay. I can talk to Barry about that before Tuesday.
yeah, I don't know if you think it's possible to wash it out or whatever.
Yeah, and we had talked about that a number of times. I know that they are running short on time to get their paving done, so.
Yeah, I know that, but you gotta dig it up to get the rock out.
That's right.
Replace the pipe, it's something you gotta take care of. Oh, that'd be a big expense. If you think you can wash it out with a fire truck, let me know, I'll see what we can do about getting something together.
I'll talk to Barry and we'll talk about it Tuesday.
Alright.
The only other item, I had sent an email out to the board, hopefully everybody received it. I know that Supervisor Smith had some questions about the Green Hills Dam. That latest inspection report from 2022, I did receive from Hanover Engineering, emailed it out to you guys. There was, what was told to me was minor damage to the spillway. My understanding, based upon reading of that report and conversation with the engineer who does the inspections, it's been repaired. They will be back out to inspect it in October. So,
Okay.
so 2023 inspection, probably have to be in November.
So I don't get a little patching probably.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, the way it looked to me is they were looking for them to remove that concrete piece that had washed out, tie whatever they're putting in there fast on either side and like re-cementing it. Probably drill holes, put rebar into the existing concrete.
My understanding is that's been completed. I haven't been out there.
I don't know either.
They do have the homeowners association, for lack of a better term, does hold a contract with Hanover, I believe it's Hanover Engineering, to do those annual inspections, and they also do the engineering design for all the repairs.
Maybe, I don't know if they're the ones that are doing the dam flood plan, the dam breaks or not.
They are.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
the emergency action plan.
Yeah.
Yep, and that was attached to that email as well.
Yeah. Maybe I didn't look at it hard enough, but I didn't see any, thing in there about, repairing the emergency, release valves so that they can drain the dam down.
I'll take a read through. I honestly, we had been corresponding basically since last month, and I said, I'm not getting, and I know the gentleman, and he said, I'm emailing. Well, he wasn't putting a dot at the right place. So I got it Tuesday and forwarded it on.
Yeah, they weren't sure last week also if they could even get it open.
Right, exactly. And I said, that was a big deal at the time, because they were afraid the dam would bust and wanted to drain it down. We couldn't drain it down because the valves were stuck.
Well, there are two different pipes that are in there. There's a small pipe, that one they can move, it's the large overflow pipe that.
Yeah, but anyway, I didn't remember seeing anything in the report.
I'll
I
ask.
couldn't designate,
I'll
but
ask.
I looked at it pretty quick.
That's all I have, I believe. Unless there's any questions for me.
Alright, we'll go to Mr. Orlando.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item listed is the status of the short-term rental ordinance. The planning commission met Monday, reviewed the latest draft, provided some input. Based on that input and some typos that Ryan found, we revised the draft. I emailed it to the board. Harold caught another area tonight on page 6, paragraph 6 of what I sent you. In the first line of that subparagraph, it says zoning hearing board. That section should read Board of Supervisors. Except for that, I believe that the ordinance was recommended to the board for its consideration by your planning commission. And the ordinance the draft I'm referring to would be for the zoning amendment. At the same time that you adopt a zoning amendment, you should also adopt the regulatory ordinance. I think Rich and Harold put together a draft of that some months ago. I haven't had a chance to look through it to see whether or not I would make any recommended changes. As I recall, when we discussed the regulatory ordinance some months ago, everybody seemed pretty happy with that, as it was.
But you had a problem with the one section there.
I can take another look at it. I did not have a chance to look at it for this meeting. And the third thing that I want to mention in connection with ordinance is, you may remember that the board, I think the supervisors were approached by the Brubaker firm about possibly amending our zoning ordinance in connection with explosive magazines.
Yes.
And you sent that to the planning commission for their recommendation. The planning commission had a discussion with that owner a month ago. I was not at that meeting. I then received an email from Attorney Straw, who called me and said, would I please take a look at his revised draft. He had been at the planning commission meeting. The planning commission had expressed some concerns, and he thought that his draft had addressed those concerns, and would I take a look at it. So I told him to send it over to me, which I have. I then tried to find out what the planning commission discussion was, but the minutes were not available. And so I brought it up on Monday at the planning commission, and I said, if you guys can share with me what you're thinking, or what the discussion was, I would be happy to review that ordinance and try to incorporate it. But the most important thing I said to them was, if the township is inclined to move forward with that explosive ordinance regulation, we should combine that with the short-term rental ordinance, because they're both zoning amendments. Zoning amendment process is involved and is time-consuming, and so if we're going to take a change to the zoning ordinance, we ought to try to get every change that we're getting in one fell swoop.
It will certainly save money by advertising.
It will save a lot of money.
Twice.
Yes. And some time. So, the one thing that came out that the planning commission mentioned about a comment that did not appear in Mr. Strong's draft was that there was some discussion, not only about making that zoning district applicable by conditional use, which he did change, but that it should be a person-specific license where a change of ownership would require the, and that was not in the draft. So I told the planning commission I would take a look at that, and I would try to come up with some language suggestions to incorporate it. I haven't had a chance to do that at this point. I'm gonna make an effort to try to do that by Tuesday. At this point in my schedule, I can't promise that I'll accomplish that. But I'm gonna make an effort. If and when this board is ready to move forward to public hearings, I took a look at the calendar. If you were able to authorize that by this coming Tuesday, the timeframes with regard to the Berks County Planning Commission's opportunity to review puts us into the workshop meeting in November as the first opportunity we would have to actually have a public hearing. So my intent, unless the board gives me some other direction tonight, is to, I'll do my best to take a look at tweaking the other ordinance, and I'm just gonna do a once-over on the original regulatory ordinance, and I will report back to you on Tuesday. And if I get a revised draft done before Tuesday, I'll send it to you the way we did before. If not, I'll report what the status is.
The regulatory ordinance doesn't have to go to the planning commission, does it?
I think it's a good policy for every ordinance to go there, but the answer is no, it does not have to go to the planning commission. Although you did, when you and Rich brought the original ordinance, I believe that our planning commission saw yours.
Yes.
The Berks County Planning Commission does not have to get it.
So we don't have to let that hold up the other.
Yeah, but if you're gonna do, if you're adopting the zoning ordinance, you're adopting the regulatory ordinance at the same time.
Oh, I agree.
So, I always send them all in, because it doesn't hurt and it doesn't cost you any more money. And sometimes you get some good feedback even on the stuff that they don't have to comment on. So, that's what I have on the first agenda item, unless the board has any questions about that. All right, the other item, I didn't have any input on my agenda this month, but I believe, based on my brief conversation with Harold prior to our meeting, that we wanted to consider and discuss the issue of having assistant secretaries, assistant treasurers, and assistant right-to-know officers.
Different positions, is it,
Yeah, I had it right now, but he has the list.
So how many is it, 3 or 4?
Well, township secretary and assistant secretary, township treasurer and assistant treasurer, and right-to-know officer, I believe are the critical ones.
Well, and the right-to-know officer for the municipal authority.
Oh, okay.
It was a listen, sorry, like
Yeah.
that.
Actually, I think the municipal authority should be appointed their own, like myself. Yeah, but, yes. Yeah, so it seems that the township does appoint it, and
Is that something we can see, Jim?
this is something Harold gave me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just,
It's the stuff from the original organization in January that, because of Rich's absence, when you
I
mentioned.
think though, in the future, you also, you know, when you make the appointments, you ought to consider not appointing the same guy in both positions.
Well, I think that's a no-brainer.
Okay.
And, yeah, correct. But right now, our concern is having competent people
To fill these
fill the
positions.
position at this time.
Well, the first one then would be the township secretary. Now, is this something we want to do tonight? You know, to appoint someone.
There's two things you could do, Mr. Chairman, and it's completely up to the board's discretion. As you know, the status of the manager, you can appoint a township secretary, or you can appoint an assistant secretary who does the same job when the existing secretary is not there. So it can be done either or both.
I was secretary for years, but then somebody in the office actually did all the transcribing of the minutes.
But there's a difference, Gail, in between the township secretary, which is an appointed position under the second-class township code, and a recording secretary who can be any person to help with the taking of minutes at meetings. They are frequently, in many townships, they're frequently the same person. Well, my point is they don't have to be. You can have a recording secretary, and that can be a person different than the appointed municipal position, township secretary. It can be the same person, can be different people.
Any thoughts from anybody for treasurer, the assistant township treasurer, the assistant township secretary, the open records officer? So what's everybody's pleasure?
I mean, what capacities can the supervisor serve in those positions?
I believe, I'll have to look to double check my memory, but I believe township supervisors are not supposed to be in too many places. You can be in the planning commission, that's a no-brainer. But I think you can also, a township secretary or a township supervisor can be a township secretary and treasurer. But let me double check it.
You guys consider it, decide by Tuesday.
Well, that's what I see what he says, and we can,
Everybody can think about it for a couple days.
we'll see what his legal interpretation.
Well, I just want to make sure we brought it to the table so that we can.
Yeah. So we have township secretary, assistant township secretary, township treasurer, the township recording secretary, township open records officer, and the municipal authority open records officer.
Just the reason I stopped at being secretary, I got promoted to vice chairman, and I'm not sure if you can hold both positions.
I'm gonna keep this just for Tuesday. I'll run my side for it.
I know, for another.
Under 403B.1, code says a supervisor may hold an appointed position within the township as long as the appointed position is not prohibited under this act or any other statute. And it says you can also serve in the planning commission. I'm not aware off the top of my head that it would be prohibited from either township secretary or treasurer. But I will make sure that there is nothing, no sleeper in that generic language I just read to you.
You're doing more research on Thursday.
Yeah. I'm reasonably sure that the appointed positions of secretary or treasurer are permissible, and I will verify it 100% Tuesday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's the only other thing on the agenda, but I have one item not on the agenda. The board authorized, my office back in March to, appear before the zoning hearing board and, defend the code enforcement officers notice of violation with regard to property at, looks like 1150 Buck Hollow Road. At that hearing, I convinced the applicant's counsel that we were prepared to go ahead and if he wanted to, but the real issue was trying to bring the property into compliance, and he needed to take some action to get relief from the zoning board in order to bring it into compliance. And so there was a stipulation reached that any party could relist the hearing if things dragged on too long, but that we would hold in abeyance further enforcement so that he could go to the zoning hearing board and get the appropriate relief. I have been following up with that attorney every month since March. Happily, last month, the landowner did finally file the required zoning relief request for the zoning hearing board. That hearing is scheduled for October 4th. I'm simply letting the board know that what's happening there. I also do not think, because this is the relief that they're asking for, I do not see any reason for the township to send me to attend that hearing. Unless you wish me to be there, it would be my view that he can, if he doesn't get the relief, we can still relist the enforcement action. If he does get the relief, it would be our intention that that's gonna solve the enforcement to begin with. So unless you think I should go to the hearing on the 4th, I do not plan to attend.
And your opinion is improbable who gets the relief?
I have no idea, I do not predict zoning hearing boards. It's a fool's errand. So unless the board thinks differently, that's my plan.
No, that's fine.
All right, and unless the board has any other questions for me, that's my report.
They'll have all the written documentation that, to review the case. I guess it's something that we need to go find.
I don't think so.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you. And then we have Public Works, and I guess Sheila or.
Ryan and Barry have been working together on this, they're providing them with numbers, but they didn't, I think, if you wanna tell them, Ryan, that, Barry's had used Butch's list.
Yeah, so if the board recalls, early spring, I think, the crew leaders drove the roads in the township and re-ranked our roads using our ranking sheet, which was due for updating. That's been completed. Barry has gone through that list, and begun selecting, a wish list of roads for 2024. We're gonna put some pricing to that and have that before you, probably next month.
And in your packets were the quote for the, I believe there was 3 quotes, that we had Barry chose from and provided in the packet. I don't know, did he talk to you about it, Harold, and Galen? Galen had stopped in.
Yeah, I talked to him and he said he was good with the list, and he got quotes from not only the chassis guy, but also from the retrofitter who put the bed and all the
He got a quote with quotes.
Yes, he got a quote, and don't quote me on this, but it seems like it was 90-some thousand.
I would believe
And,
that without a
and
problem.
they told him, depending, they'll probably have a 5% price increase, is that right, 5%?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but by the time they're actually building this thing.
The only thing, there's a couple things going on here, because the truck's not gonna be a problem for a while, and I don't know how long it'll take him to get the bed, because he's not building the bed, he's just mounting it on the chassis. Somebody else is producing the bed, I don't know what their production schedule's like. But my other question is, do we have to bid that out? Or is that a CoStar's thing or something?
Well, the truck is CoStar.
Yes.
I don't know whether the bed and outfitting is,
Well, it either is or isn't, you have to check the list.
Yeah, and if it's over, was it 10,000, you have to get bids. I don't know if
well,
it's
unless it's
bid it out.
CoStar.
Yeah.
So we'll have to find out what Coach is
We've
CoStar.
used Coach before, and it makes sense to do it,
I
and I
think we
prefer
are.
to buy it from them, because they're close. And they take care of you guys if something breaks down in a snowstorm, at least they have in the past.
They have.
So they've been, real good to us that way, so. But I don't know if we have to do anything different or not in order to use their bid.
And as for the sign quotes, Dennis already talked to you about the no soliciting. I don't have any information on the Rock Hollow Bridge detour. If somebody else has there was nothing in the packet, I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably a leftover.
Yeah, cause I don't know anything about that.
Just real quick, so we did work on that detour, both Barry and I. He forwarded, we received pricing for the signs as was authorized by the board. I believe they're on order, I don't think they're installed.
Okay, I was gonna say, I haven't seen anything.
Okay, so then the sign for legitimate item.
I saw.
And the applications were all provided for you guys to review.
Yeah,
Detour, there's detour signs. Here we got a quote from Miller for the sign. I don't know if they're ordered or what the deal is with that, but it's in the packet.
Wasn't that one for Dennis?
No, that was the detour sign, what Galen has.
Oh, okay, so he did get it to us, alright.
So now the public works application, is what we'd like to do. We should start hopefully soon doing interviews if people can start, we can start making appointments.
yeah, I looked at the list today, and the list is probably a little bit shorter than I sent you guys out the list before, because I think there was 3 of them don't have CDLs. So I don't know that we wanna go back down that rabbit hole.
When you say public works, are we talking about road crew?
Yes.
Or public work director?
Road
No.
crew, the applications for,
All right, there's a difference there, isn't there?
well, public works, I mean, road crew's under public works.
Well, we need a public works director as well. We need an assistant manager, a public works director, and then a road crew. There are 3 issues going on here.
Actually,
Right.
you could use 2 road workers. One time you
Depending
got
on the-
6-man
and
crew.
a public work director.
Well, right now, we were talking about road crew, we can jump to the public works director. Because
So-
the applications for road crew.
I sent out an email asking, who would participate in the process, and Chris was the only one that sent an email back. So I don't know who was, but I wanted to be ready to go by Tuesday, but it's not gonna happen because there's just no time in the schedule to do that. Unless we do interviews on Sunday or something. But, we have to figure out what we wanna do there, because we gotta hire somebody sooner than later. Because we can have snows as early as October, as we all remember.
Yeah, Halloween.
Anybody available, like,
I'll make myself available.
I mean, I know we have municipal authority on Monday, we have this on Tuesday, and before it's in I can't do Wednesday, so I could do Thursday, but if anybody else can do Monday, cause we're at the municipal authority meeting, anybody, I mean,
I can do Monday, if you wanna do that, if it works with Tim, that's fine with me.
at what time?
Barry wanted to be part of the process, so.
They should be.
Better check with him then.
I mean, is that all right, at what time, if you're, is that all right? Yeah, they should do it,
I
can do it Monday.
Yeah, and we'll have to try and get a hold of the applicants tomorrow to see whether they're available on Monday.
So are you just gonna go with the list that you had provided where you had?
Yeah, there's a couple
Okay.
of it scratched out
Okay.
because they don't have
I
CDL.
don't know what time, it's whatever they're available, and whatever, obviously, the applicants are available, can start. What time can you guys first meet, I guess?
Whatever works. I can make it, make it 5 o'clock if you want to, or whatever suits you guys, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I don't care.
I said about calling the applicants, I think the one guy, could stop on his way home at 4:30. And then you could do get somebody to see you, you do a 5:30 and, you know, just run through them that way.
Anything suit you better, Tim, one time or another?
No, I'll make myself available.
You know, it's same thing.
Alright, so Sheila, you can, you know, see who's available, and unfortunately, they can't all come, but only a couple, I mean, you still should try to do everybody.
What other days and times, so if we're gonna call them, we can then, you know, see what they say, and if we tell them the times and dates we have.
Next one will be Wednesday, because Tuesday is the regular meeting.
Well, I mean, else you can do before the meeting. So see, if not everybody can come on Monday, see if anybody can come before
We can see at what time.
5:30
Okay.
on Tuesday. If they can't do that, then you're gonna have to push it to Wednesday.
So you could come during the day, Jeff, and Harold, you could come during the day, so
I
we get a
can.
couple knocked out. So, all right, we'll figure it out.
I can come whenever you, pretty much, if you need me, as long as I get a call ahead of time, then I'm
Okay.
supposed to be there.
All right, so let me make sure that I understand, Tim Bitler and Galen, you guys can come on Monday evening, and Jeff and Harold, you prefer before 4 o'clock on a Monday. If we're trying to do
Yeah,
it for
if,
Tuesday.
if that's what they're available, I mean, yeah, right, I mean,
If they're available during the day, we can do it during.
we, yeah,
Right,
right.
that's
yeah,
what,
sure.
but I wanna be able to know that when I'm calling,
No, that's
so I
fine.
can have an idea.
And then same thing on, if they can't make it Monday, let's do Tuesday. And then,
During the day,
yep, we'll compare notes here Tuesday night and figure out what it's gonna look like.
okay.
A couple of those guys had some pretty
I was just gonna say, yeah, if it works, then by maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, how many did you have, you guys were yes for?
I have to look at the list again, but I think
Okay.
we're down to like 4 or 5.
Oh, okay, cause the list was like
The list,
10.
the list was 9, and, they didn't have CDLs, and like I said, I don't know that we wanna go down that
Then
route.
I'll try to put them in Tim and Galen's time frame, cause like you said, they most likely work, so they're gonna probably wanna come after that.
Yeah, whatever
Okay.
works, if we can, Monday,
Okay.
Monday, or whatever.
You guys listen to before, that's when they can get really high reputation for it, makes the best.
Yeah, well, there's probably a reason.
Alright, so we have that now. Supervisors, we got public works superintendent, now we never officially advertised for that.
Right. Well, we know we need to replace that in Mr. Haggis.
Oh, yeah, so do you wanna make a motion for advertise for that?
Sure.
Is that,
I'll
you
move
want,
to advertise the public works director, and we've got some interesting applications.
Okay, so this is under X. So, Tim,
this is still public works applications, we're in the name.
motion to advertise
Public works director.
Public Works Director.
Yeah, superintendent or. Anyone like to make a motion for that?
I thought someone was just doing that.
Let me have a second.
Oh, okay. I'll second that.
Roll call, Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Sure, yes.
Mr. Bitler,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
We need to make a motion.
Well, no, that can be done, we'll do that down here, old business, because this is a different
What's
section.
under old business?
Well, we can do about, your stuff there, because we're still at the public works section, and this is, if you wanna make a motion about the manager, assistant manager, we can do that from there. Right now, Sheila, we got Parks and Rec, anything?
Well, Parks and Rec has made several different recommendations over the past month, and nothing has moved forward. However, we wanna bring to your attention the UV unit that was replaced several months ago. The DEP is saying it's not an NSF 55A certified, and we got a quote for that, which is $4,400 versus the one we replaced at $1,200. So we're kinda going back and forth with the DEP. Howard reached out to Mark Gillen's office, they sent an email to the DEP, because it's a hardship, you know. We had where did this requirement come from? So we requested the information on that. The UV unit probably wasn't replaced for years. However, how are we supposed to know it had to be a certified, like there was no, so we're kind of going back and forth
And you
with that.
know, we've never, all the times we've had the water testing, we've never had a failure.
Yeah, our water testing is fine, which I've said, and, yeah, so we'll see where that goes. The park closes the end of October, we're hoping to hear back from them, but as of right now, the DP stance is we have to replace it with an NSF 55A certified.
Hopefully Mark Gillen's office can do something for us.
Well, well, actually, I don't know that that's true, because she was sure to help that day, so I don't know whether it really worked out.
Well, she did send it, she did send an email to, I forget who it is, I'll forward it. We were waiting to see what the response was, I don't know who at the DEP.
Jeff, a question for you, because I'm no expert at baseball. Diamond
Oh,
Tex,
yeah, that's right.
would it be best to wait till spring now, because, if we put it out, huh?
I would now, yes.
Yeah, because it packs down and gets too
Yeah.
much. Okay, I just want to make sure that was right.
Yeah, I would waste time now, yeah.
That's all I have. And then for the new business, Dynatech, the yearly agreements in the red folder you have, Chris, they've been doing a great job. And then the J-Dog carpet cleaning agreement, he's the guy who came and cleaned the carpets, he did a great job. He was asking if we would do a agreement with him for a year to come back and do spots and clean. But Harold's been talking about doing inlaid on the stained areas, like the walkway. So, you know, it's up to you guys if you wanna do that or not, it would just save us money. If we were to have him come back next year to clean, it would be $1,000 versus what his agreement is at $500 and some dollars.
Yeah, the carpet guy was supposed to call me about coming down and see the office over here to replace. I said about getting those 2x2 tile, carpet tiles, that way somebody, falls down in the office and bleeds, they can just pull that tile up and replace it. And then up at the office, it's really worn when you come in the door, and then you got all the, I thought maybe he could just inlay that somehow, save the rest of it. And, but I wanted to get a price from him, and I don't know whether that would work or not.
Do we wanna make any of these motions now about Dynatech or the J-Dog carpet?
Well, I'm okay with the Dynatech. I'd like to hold off on the Jane Doe until we find out whether the carpet guy can, you know, salvage what we have.
We had approved that carpet cleaning before.
Well, he cleaned it, but if you looked at it when he did it, it was beautiful. If you go up there now, you can already start seeing where the glue lines are coming back.
Dirt sticking to them.
Certainly smelled a lot better, it was
Would
fresh.
anyone like to make a motion for the Dynatech yearly agreement?
I'll make a motion, we renew the Dynatech generator yearly agreement.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
I think we just state they're taking care of 3 different generators. One at the pump. Station,
Yes,
one at the
it's
plant,
the-
and one
At the township building, the administrative building, the sewer plant, and the pump station.
All right, now old business, and then Supervisor Bittler, would you want to make comments about that? Assistant manager position?
Yeah, where you gonna need to hire somebody. There's a specific provision in our code that says how we're supposed to go about it. So, we need to, we've advertised, have we not, for the assistant manager?
Yes.
We have.
Right, so set up the interviews for this guys.
Is there anybody that anybody finds compelling?
Harold, Rich just sent his resume in again.
Oh, did he?
He did.
Rich,
He just, Howard.
Um,
He sent it to Sheila,
I didn't get it.
it just came in tonight, I just.
Oh, so tomorrow I'll get it, okay. I'll make sure you guys all get it.
all right,
And
so,
then you have the list, Deborah was working with you with the list and putting that all together. And then you were gonna talk to Dennis, I don't know if we need
I
approval
did
for
not.
that.
well,
Okay.
now that we got more in the mix, we'll just add them to it, and,
discuss it Tuesday.
yeah. The other
Let's get
thing,
some dates to interview you guys.
Yeah.
Now,
the other thing is, well, we'll do that after the interviews, they were sending out letters saying to people that,
Yeah, say thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we created the form, we're ready to do that once you guys decide like who you're gonna interview, and you can send those letters out so people can stop calling.
and so, I'll try and get that information back to everybody by Tuesday, actually by Monday. By Monday, we might be able to have it done. And then, we can look at them on Tuesday and see what we wanna do.
Alright, that's all.
so let's go into executive session, discuss personnel matters if we're done.
If there's nothing else, we can go back into executive at 9:13.
just for
Sure.
a few seconds. You made a stick around? Just call them, anything changes. I don't know. I'm hoping that the game's paused somewhere for me.
I'm good. Kid looks like he plays for the Green Bay.
Wow. I went to stand up, I was like, ow. He's having some health issues, so.
Yeah, I think that's right.
That's really all I can say at this time.
Yeah, I think we would get this.
What's the second executive session for?
Let's think
I
about
gotta
it.
get
I know, I'm usually now before bed this time. All right, see you tomorrow, Ron, thank you again. Oh, you're welcome.
Nice to see you.
I don't pay attention to it. Nice to meet you.
Because I'm too exhausted from working to come to these meetings.
I'll see you, I'm heading out.
I'll see you.
No, that's, yeah, I don't like them living my way.
Bye, Ryan. I'm envious.
Thank you.
A lot of executive sessions.
I don't think they've had that many executive sessions.
Well, that means we have too many executives.
That's it, well, a lot of business like this, we're gonna be, they have one meeting a month or so, two. This is the workshop. Next Tuesday,
Really good word. It's only 45 minutes. It shouldn't hurt as much getting up the second time.
Let's hope it's just smooth sailing there.
But what will be, will be. I gotta remember to turn my phone back on. For tomorrow, everybody saying, why aren't you responding?
Yep.
I'll leave in my name, please. And we won't have to do it on Tuesday. It was very nice meeting you.
You too.
And again, I'm very thankful that you helped us with that notary stuff, cause I'm like,
Not a problem.
I said, we're gonna have to have them redo it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we gonna do? Which we didn't even talk about. He's like, well, look what it costs for a notary. And I didn't even think anything of it. I'm like, all right, I looked at it, like, it's about $400 some. And he goes, oh, okay, well, maybe it's something you can do. I was like, for me.
So it's like the initial price is like $400, but then you have to get
Oh,
like
cost for the stamps and stuff.
background check and stamps in a book and getting sworn in and all that
So
stuff.
the class is just, I didn't spend, like, when he said that, I'm like, I'm like, $418 is what I saw, I went back to what I was doing. And then he was like, he goes, well, then I'm like, oh, for me? Because I'm like, do I have to come to the meetings then? I'll be honest, I'm very frustrated with him because they've been taking advantage of me for years. I don't get paid a lot for what I do. We've been understaffed for years.
Yeah.
But that's all right. I'm gonna make a change. If they're not gonna treat me better, which I already told them, I'm very frank, very upfront.
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus, I ain't got time for this. I'm gonna retire, keep my paper out in case they make a motion when they come back. Thought about carrying the box out, but I'll wait. I hope it won't take forever though.
They're usually only like 10-ish minutes.
And this thing makes it take longer. And what's this whole pile of stuff? Does he carry stuff around all the time? Oh my God. Driving me crazy. Is his wife tough? Does she tolerate him? Like she seems like she wears the pants. Nah, they're about balance.
Yeah, they're about balance.
That's good. Yeah, we're about balance. Like we don't lord it over each other. It sounds like you don't. You have a good relationship. That's good. It makes a big difference, and that's. It's like it's toxicity, and I try to avoid toxic people. And that's how I feel when I'm around him. Like,
yeah, I
tried. I really did. I tried, and then I was like, I'm thinking I just helped him, and he's saying that. What? And I'm sorry, I shouldn't complain here. However, you are right there. Is it eating something for our meeting? No, you work a full day, right? Is this too much? You get to sit there and just, but that's convenient. Wouldn't you rather be on your couch?
Yeah.
That's what my husband always, he's like, now remember, don't react, ignore him. And don't feel bad that you're not here with me. I'm like, yeah, and I said, I left the dog, I'm like, bye, Bill, you can get stretched out in my spot.
Yeah, I looked at my husband and I was like, by the way, there's 2 loads of wash that need to be done. Both the older ones need their black pants for tomorrow night, so you gotta make sure we get the wash. And then don't forget to pick my daughter off for band camp, because our kids all go to Boone.
Oh, that way. Are they back already?
Maybe.
No, just us. He got all excited.
Yeah.
How comes they go to Boone?
So, my ex-husband and his ex-wife still live in Dana Boone.
Gotcha. And that's where they were going, so
Yeah,
it's
I
better to
ended
keep
up-
them there.
I ended up over here because Amity Gardens has a wicked bad mold problem in those apartments.
It's old.
And I had a second floor end unit that my end unit wall was my bedroom, a big walk-in closet, and my bathroom. I had black mold everywhere in that apartment. And they would not fix it.
Don't they have to?
I paid to have it tested by 3 different places, and they kept going, no, it's mildew, no, it's mildew, no, it's mildew. And I said to Tim one day, I was like, is your agent pushing me now? Because I can't do it anymore. Like, I was sick all the time, my daughter was sick all the time. Like, it was ridiculous. And they literally moved me out less than a month later. They threw paint in the wall, painter with mold, moved in a girl held like a week-old baby. She didn't even stay there a whole month. Like, they were sick almost immediately after moving in there. she
That
broke
is
her
not
nose in the ground.
cool.
That whole, I swear that whole place is full of people who are like either just getting divorced and like you need a place to go, right?
Right.
Or it's just like
Derelicts.
the nefarious riffraff.
Riffraff,
Bottom
that's another
floors.
good idea.
Like we were excited when we moved in there because they told me they're like, oh yeah, your apartment's all redone, you've got all new carpet and paint and like they redid part of my bathroom and all that stuff. And like we were there maybe 2.5 years. And by the time we left, like we're not dirty people. Like I clean every day. Like
Right, you keep things in order, clean, yes, I am too.
it's a small space for a lot of, you know, there's a lot going on with us. And it was like, I said to my daughter when we got out of her room, I was like, I went to move your dresser for the first time since we lived here. I had a big patch of black mold behind her dresser. I was like, I'm so sorry
It's
that I had
insidious.
you living in here.
Right.
Like, but I didn't know.
Right,
And
right.
you know, maintenance comes in every 6 months. You have to let maintenance into your unit to do their inspections.
So they knew.
I don't know what they're inspecting because they didn't fix anything after they were there. Like,
Just to see, just to make sure you're not like, you know. I that's my thing. I dislike people who take advantage of other people.
yeah, and that is
You know.
precisely what that place does. I couldn't get out of their gas smell. And like when I called the office and they were like, well, what are you breaking your lease for? I'm like, there's black mold all over my apartment.
And that's why I can't understand why you can't get out. They probably kept your deposit, huh?
So when I moved in there, because I was moving in a hurry, I had to give a double security deposit. So it was like first month, last month, and then 2 months of security. So they actually owed me money when I moved out. For like I didn't pay my last 2 months of rent because I broke my lease.
Right.
And they still owed me back a whole month of rent.
You didn't get it, did you?
No.
They're riffraff.
I told
The
my
owners are
husband,
riffraff.
I said, it's not worth the hassle and aggravation that it's gonna be to get it back from them. Just let them keep it. I don't care.
Right. You're right.
As long
That's
as
probably what I would
we're
say.
out and they're not bothering me. But they're the same place that like we used to live. There was an elderly couple that lived below me who were like, you know, your elderly people who thrive on Social Security and whatever. And if you're 5 days late with your rent, they send your stuff to the DJ. And I would come home from work and I would call her and go, you guys have another notice on your door. She's like, oh, I paid her rent yesterday, but you know, it was 6 days late. And they put the thing on the door. Honestly, they spend more money, take some of that money that you spend filing bullshit stuff against your tenants.
And fix the place.
Fix stuff.
Somebody needs to go to the DJ about that. You know what I'm saying? Or is
was
there a
always-
place that you can report people?
I have no idea. If there was, I couldn't find it while I lived there.
Are we live on?
Mm-hmm. But I told my husband, I was like, I just hope they come after me for something. Because I would love to go in front of a judge and be like, here's all the emails of all my maintenance requests. Here's all the pictures. Here's how nothing got fixed.
And the black mold, that's sad. You got families moving in there, and then for you to let a girl with a young baby, that's awful.
Well,
That
and
is
then,
awful.
The first kit that I bought to test it was, I bought it off Amazon and that was like a thing where you swab it and send it in. And I forget, it came back with like 2 different kinds. And they were like, we don't know if that's accurate, you bought it online, blah, blah, blah. So, I have a friend that works for Serpro. So, he had his team come in and do a test. And then they were like, well, you know, you just said this is one of your friends, how do we know they didn't lie for your test results? And I was like, that's fine. You tell me who to pay to have them come in and do it. I'll use your company to do it. I spent almost $1,000 on mold testing. And when their company came back with the same 2 kinds of mold that the other 2 tests showed, they started like, oh, that's gotta be a flood test. It has to be flood. And I'm like, these are your people.
That's him. That's my lurking ear.
Are they right here? I don't know.
Why? I don't know if I'm hearing it
I
from
was
there.
thinking, I don't know where anything is. It's like,
When you go out
I
the
know
door,
where
the
this one
garage
is and where
door's
the
to the
bathroom
right.
is. I don't know where anything else is. But Yeah, and I was laughing because my husband was like, "What if they're coming to do an Abbey Gardens?" And I was like, "You go right ahead."
I guess it's coming through the door. Maybe it's coming through the vent. I don't know. Like at first I was like, is it coming through the floor? But I think maybe it's echoing. I mean, I can't hear what he's saying. I just hear his voice.
Yeah.
It's probably bitching about me. Whatever. Alright.
My lovely husband gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work. And his alarm goes off for about 45 minutes before he actually gets out of bed.
It sounds like my voice.
I look at him like, I'm
I
gonna
think I just heard my name.
look at him some mornings like, I'm gonna club you to death like a baby seal if you don't turn that alarm off. It's 7 days a week. We go camping, right? We're in the camper. Like, why is your alarm going off at 4 o'clock in the morning? Now the kids are up at 4 o'clock in the freaking morning. Guess what? Go be with your children because I'm not getting out of bed at 4 on vacation.
Where were you going? You want to get up at 4?
That's what he does not turn his damn alarms off.
Oh my god.
Every day, 7 days a week. Like weekdays I don't mind it because I get up and, you know, do the dishes and the laundry and all the chore stuff, so when I get home from work I can just sit.
Right. No, I get up. When I get up, I go and tell them. And when I go in, sometimes I can hear their alarm going off. I'm like, yo, it's this time. Yo, it's this time. I'm leaving. You know.
I look at
and
my daughter
usually-
some mornings and I'm like, if you're not in the car by 10 after 7, you're gonna either skip school or you're gonna find another way to get there.
Does she move it then?
No. I start waking her up at 6 o'clock. Usually all you can hear is the police. Or whatever that is.
Sure, it involves me, because he's an evil. It's my opinion. And I don't care if you share it. He just, that's how he acts. And
I always tell him that like my health here ends with this.
what's that? You always say what?
But my involvement with township stuff ends with this.
You told him that, or that's
Like I don't want to be involved.
well, I don't get what I've ever done. Like, what's he complain that I've done? What have I done? Like, or no, I work my ass off and don't make enough. But that's alright. That's okay. I don't know if we need to see there. There could be covering something. Maybe I shouldn't pull it off. Like, you know, like something. Like, see how that's rough?
Yeah.
Like something gouged it. You know, and then when they said about a letter, he's like, and who's gonna make that letter? I thought, you know what? I would do it, but I'm not saying a word. No. And you know, see, I knew he complains about me, or complains about things in the township, which includes me, to other people who know me, who he doesn't know me. And they're like, you need to stay, he stay away from him. And they tell me some of the stuff he's, I'm like, what is he talking about? Like, I don't understand. Whatever. I know he doesn't like it because I'm a watchdog. That's right. You misuse our funds. You're damn straight. There's audits and legal things. See, there's one way that you can steal, or you just take somebody's buddy's money when they're not looking, right? But there's another way where you can misappropriate that money without actually taking it from their hand, but you're still spending it for their own good. I'm doing this for you. I'm helping the township. No, you're doing it for yourself, so stop. But whatever. Whatever. I just hope they don't call me down there. and then I gotta get up and do it all over again.
Are you gonna be the person who like fills in for Rich while he's out?
I've been cleaning up all his messes. It's awful. It is awful. He don't want to believe it. I don't care. Everybody else has noticed it. I took care of that. I'm taking care of that. I'm doing that. Now we could see he was getting sicker and sicker, and things were falling behind. However, like the minutes, we would have helped him. We would have taken care of him. But I did it. And then when he wasn't coming in, we're looking for the stuff. He's not done it. Not only that, there's a long list of stuff that he told these supervisors in these meetings that he did not do. I don't know if him and Tim were friends. I don't know how he came to be here. But the number one talk is, why would he come on as an attorney for an admin assistant position? How would he know? It would then go to the BA manager. So I would say the majority believes in having come. I don't know. I always say I don't know. I don't feed the machine. I don't feed that monster. Now, talking a little more open, it's probably being recorded on there. He's welcome to listen to it. I feel that I work very hard, and for some reason now, Mr. Steve says he treats everyone like that. That doesn't make it okay. There's an expectation of professionalism, and I don't see that. Now, I didn't feel like he was being confrontational to the guy who was speaking, who said he was.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He didn't talk that nice to me. Whatever. I just know that he makes my job more difficult. He's been very rude and ignorant to me, and I'm ready to walk away. However, others don't want me to. Others want me to take Rich's part. I do not want it. I told them all very adamantly, I don't want that job. I want to be the accountant. I want to do my job. But if this shit's going to continue, I don't need to work here. Knock on wood. I've been very fortunate. We've made good choices in our life. I've made sacrifices, and I don't have to work.
Yeah.
My husband makes enough money. We've saved enough money. We own all of our stuff. You know what I mean? But now my colleagues and coworkers don't want me to leave, and I appreciate that. And that's how I feel fortunate. My colleagues know what an asset I am to the township. So I gotta be strong in that. I'll deal with this stuff. But what he needs to understand is he's one of 5, and the majority rules. So stop acting like you lord it over everyone. Just self-inflated view.
Sessions never take this long.
Well, keep in mind they gotta talk about the positions that are open. They gotta talk about the rich stuff. And I wish Rich well. I do health-wise. I hope he gets better. He had no experience as a manager. He had a law firm. He was a delegator. He wasn't a worker. And I don't know if it was his illness, but he could not retain information. So you and I are having this conversation, and you got up and went to the bathroom and talked to somebody else when you came back. He would not remember the conversation that we just had. He would ask the same questions over and over. Now remember, think about this. 45 hours a week. He had no financial understanding. He would ask me the same questions over and over. My coworkers saw it. They started it. The guys in the public works, they saw it. It's a pattern of behavior. Like sometimes I think he actually has like Tourette's or something. Not Tourette's, but some type of, I don't know. But you know what, that's not my job to figure out what's wrong with people. That's not my job to figure out. All I can tell you is you're not professional. You treat us, like, for the simplest, smallest things, he will come in and be like, well, it's like, what? Does the least, complains about what everybody else does. So, whatever, maybe he'll learn something listening to the audio. But probably not. I know, I'm past my bedtime. Would it be rude for me to go down and say, excuse me, do you need me to stay or can I go?
Usually when they come back up from these, all they do is like
adjourn.
They think where they're like, we ended the executive session at whatever time, and then they make the motion to adjourn. And then I leave. I don't know what happens after that.
So you just have to sit here and make sure nobody tampers with it. What happened? Somebody tampered with it?
The first one that they did, I don't know at what point in it was, but somebody unplugged the camera and it shut the whole thing off.
And it's plugged back there?
The camera's plugged in over here.
So they've had to unplug it. It wasn't an
Yeah,
accident. It wasn't somebody tripped or
it's a
something.
USB plug.
Okay. Yeah, I think somebody mentioned it, but I assumed it was like plugged in or something. Like I didn't know how. That's kind of weird.
I think it's funny though because I just put this on the Wi-Fi at the office literally at 4:45 before I left. No updates or anything. Now it's got 2 updates on it. As soon as it hits the Wi-Fi in this building, it always wants to update. I don't understand why.
Different Wi-Fi,
I
maybe?
don't know. Cause like I even sent it to him. He was like, you know, don't forget to take the backpack out. And I was like, I just have it plugged in now, update it, and there's no updates showing on it. And now it's gone on it again.
Because it'll bog it down.
I have no idea. So that's right. I'm throwing my Wi-Fi down tonight and update it overnight.
So good, I think I'm on there. Just my corner. Good.
It's really just the back of your head, most of it.
Good. Probably all look fuzzy and from going like this all day. You know what I mean? You know, oh my goodness. Did Mr. Orlando go down or did he leave?
He goes down or not? He might have left. I don't see any of his stuff over there. I think it's just the 5 of them. And then I think Rich used to go down and like Chief Castle if they needed something.
It's cracking me up.
It's actually, I think the first meeting I've been to where all 5 of them were actually here. Where like someone wasn't on vacation
Usually
or something.
somebody's out. Yeah.
And then the
Now
last,
the summer's over.
well, the last set too, I think, was right after Tim's eye thing. So he wasn't here.
Well, his eyes should get better. Like I know people who've had the surgeries and stuff like that. They tell you it takes time. You gotta keep doing the drops and it just takes time and it gets clearer and clearer and clearer. Now, actually, it's probably a different surgery. I'm talking about when they get the LASIK.
Yeah.
That's different. He was getting the optical nerve. I don't know something.
Something detached.
And you know, he makes a big deal out of all this stuff. We just had a convicted murderer on the run. You have all these health issues. Rich has life is too short. Why are you being so petty? Let's work together as a team. Everybody else does. But he doesn't see it. He doesn't recognize.
So we were all hoping that convicted murderer set the foot in Berks County. I looked at my husband and I was like, does he know what's gonna happen when he crosses that line in front of
No.
me?
He doesn't. He didn't. He's a foreigner.
I don't feel like Berks County is the county that you wanna
Yeah, but people
step
don't
into
know.
on
Not
this
people
end.
don't know that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My parents can move. My mom and dad live in Montgomery County. My mom and dad will normally, is that a loaded rifle by your front door? I'm like, it's hunting season, yeah. Well, it's loaded up, I was like, yeah. Safety's on.
I was gonna say, don't touch it.
Right? Like our kids know not to touch them.
Right. Yeah, our kids know. But we have a safe. Most of our guns are locked up. They're not sitting out.
Yeah, we have, well, he keeps one by the door because we never know when there's gonna be a deer out back, and I was
Right.
like,
Yeah, but you have that acreage back there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To the river.
he thinks that's so funny too, because from the slider door on the back of that house that's in the kitchen, I can see him in the tree stand down by the river.
With binoculars or without?
No, without. You can see the orange.
Oh, right.
And then he'll be like, hey, I just saw you walk by the slider. And I'm like, can you just less creepy?
Oh, yeah. Could be a creepy creeper. If you had a long range paint gun. No, he's trying to hunt though. You can't do that.
There are days that he just irritates me when he's hunting. And I go out and push the panic button on the car. We're like, oh, how's your hunting now? Is it good?
That's not nice.
He had 7 deer last year. The freezer's still full. We don't need
Yeah,
to hunt
we
this
have
year,
a
but
full
we're doing it
freezer.
anyway.
Yeah, I'll get tired of doing it. I'm like, because you have to do this, you have to do that. When we were younger, we had the hand grinder.
I know, we have an electric one.
Hold on, don't be braggart. Bam, had the hand grinder. Then we would take turns. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, I need to do my other arm. You know what I mean? This arm's gonna be real big, but then I had an old exercise bike. He set it up so that you could do the bike.
Oh, there you
It was,
go.
it's still after a while you're like, so we would take turns. And then for Christmas, his mom and dad got us an electric one, and that's what we've been using since. Although that can be a pain in the ass too. You gotta push the stuff in there, and you gotta clean the thing out. You gotta clean that, you know. It's not an industrial. I mean, it's nice size. You know what I'm saying? It's probably like this big.
We've been
Still.
very fortunate to find pretty much all of our deer processing stuff on the Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, nice. My
So
kids
we
thought
got
about that.
our electric thing is probably about this big. It's got a big chute thing on the top.
Yep.
We got it for $50 from a guy who
That's
like,
awesome. I don't know
just
what my
bought it
parents
and
paid.
decided he didn't want to process his own deer anymore. But it saves us so much money in processing every year. So, and then last year, I had a KitchenAid stand mixer. He got me the attachment that goes on it to do it, so we can do like twice as much at one time.
You can get one of those, like a grinder
Yeah.
for the KitchenAid. Because the kids were talking about, they're like, Mom, we can get you this thing, and we get you that thing, and I was in the living room like, what do you, for what? They're like, your KitchenAid.
We got one, it's not KitchenAid brand, we got it off Amazon, that does, it's like the grinder, it's a food mill with like the different
That's what they were talking
screens
about,
that you put
food
in it.
mill.
And then it also has like the slicing things for like vegetables or whatever, mixed slices.
Oh, the,
It
I don't,
makes sausage.
it's like a what you
It does
call
so many different things.
Gotcha.
But it's literally like this big and it just hooks into the end.
And you just put the thing.
Yeah.
That's what they were talking about, a mill, and then I was thinking, what do I need that for?
A manual food mill too. Because when you make spaghetti sauce and stuff, we can't run that through the tier farm. And I'm like, so I'm sitting here with 100 pounds of tomatoes going.
My neighbor, I don't know what they did this year, but they have abundance of tomatoes. She's like, do you need some tomatoes? And I was like, didn't you just grab some tomatoes on your way? He's like, yeah, I grabbed 2. So I texted him, I'm like, no, I said, we're good. She's like, well, I have a lot of them. I said, well, we'll take a couple, maybe in a day or
Because
two.
they're all just starting to turn the last like 2 weeks.
Right, hold on. And she sends me, she's like, I was really hoping you could use some tomatoes, and she sends me a picture with huge bowls on her table, jars and jars of canned tomatoes, or, you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, we'll take some. She's like, I'll be right over. She comes to the door with this huge bowl. I'm like, you're giving me the whole bowl? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Then I start like, hey, can you use some potatoes? Because I was busy. I've been really busy with my mom passing, and then my husband's my father-in-law passed. Anyway, a lot going on, and I wasn't taking the time to jar. Like, I had stuff, but I ain't got time for that. I would have had it, but I was like, well, maybe I'll make some homemade sauce. But then I got a phone call. I had to do other stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not making homemade sauce. Maybe I'll do salsa. But in the meantime, I was giving them out. But I made like a pasta salad, tomatoes and meat and cheese. What else did I do? Something else. And then one of my kids was like, you want me to crush some tomatoes for you? I'm like, oh, you're gonna skin them first? No, I just want to do the crushing part. Anyway, so I gave them out, and everybody was asking me, well, what kind are they? And I'm like, they're the best kind. The neighbor planted them, watered them, picked them, and brought them to me in a bowl. And they were laughing, but they did a whole bunch. They're like, we don't know why, but this year their tomatoes were crazy, and she still has more.
Ours literally did nothing till like 2 or 3 weeks ago when
And
that
then
like
it's
first
crazy.
heat wave and all the rain happened, and then it was like, oh my god, I made
Couldn't keep up with it.
over 30 like this big jars of spaghetti sauce. I don't know how many jars of sauce I have in the kitchen right now because between.
Well, I'm getting jars of
and,
stuff
like,
because
we
all the
have,
people
like,
I gave the tomatoes, I got salsa,
Yeah.
sauce.
But we have like 30 some odd pepper plants too that are different kinds
I
of
want to make
peppers.
pepper jam.
So I attempted pepper jam and it did not.
Did it
set.
get runny?
It ended up being pepper liquid.
Yeah.
And my husband, who apparently loves me very much, was like, it's fine, I'll just drink it. And I was like,
no.
Can we not? Because
There could probably be something that you put in it for it to thicken.
that's what my mom said. I probably missed something.
But that you could still add for it to thicken, because with jam, you have to boil it down.
Mm-hmm.
God, it's been so long. Once you boil it down, you strain it, and then you have to add stuff to it. Not gelatin.
Sugar. Yeah.
And then
I'm thinking I probably didn't put enough. This is my first year making jelly or jam.
well, I haven't, but my sister-in-law and her husband, they had pepper plants, and they had so much they made jam. It was so delicious, and it was the first time I've ever had pepper jam. I've been around other people who've had it, but I just thought, I don't want pepper jam. I'm not a jelly kind of person anyway. But then my niece beat me down. She's like, come on, you have to try it. Please, just try it. So she got me a cracker, she put cream cheese and something. I'm like, all right, I can do that. I said, just put a little bit on there. And then I tasted it, I was like, that is not what I was expecting.
Yeah. No.
Not at all. It was delicious. Then I would start making my own. I said, this stuff is good. Can I have a jar? They did. They sent a jar home with me. And that's what I said the next. Because as my kids got older, I plan it less. My life is changing. What I'm doing is different.
Yeah.
But when they were younger, we would plant different stuff like, zucchinis and pumpkins and
that
squash.
whole deck that wraps around the top of the house. There's plants all the way around the edge of it, on the inside of the wall, and then there's strawberries hanging on all the poles.
Nice. Now, see, that's the kind of stuff we used to do. But sweet Jesus, I ain't got time now.
I don't either. Like, I did
your
all
husband
of
do
that on Mother's Day. I planted all of that stuff. Because
Did they all help you?
Oh, no. I spend Mother's Day by myself. That was my day. Don't ask me for shit. Don't do that. But then we tried down like
the critters
right inside the fence. Like a container garden,
right?
I mean,
critters.
Between the cats, the groundhogs.
That's what.
That one rogue snake that was down there. I don't go down there anymore because there was a brown snake down there.
We have snakes.
Nothing,
I don't see a lot of snakes.
Worked down in that little spot.
Yeah, it has to be up. That's what I do. I do some container stuff on my deck. But with my mom, she was sick, and my brothers and I went and lived with her. Actually, probably I don't know, about a month and a half until she died. So we got to stay with her, but I didn't got time for that. So I just plus between my own plants and her plants, my house, I'm like, I still am working on making room for plants that are gonna be coming in because the frost will be here before we know it. And everybody's going, Sheila, we have plenty of time. Right, however,
No, we don't.
but here's the thing.
So I put all mine outside for the summer, and now they're 3 times the size they were.
Not
And
only
I'm looking
that,
at my husband going, I gotta repot all these into pots that they fitted, and then I gotta figure out where inside
Where?
we're gonna put these plants that are twice,
that are
3
getting
times the
sun.
size.
So I have my own, I have hers, but I gotta start now because it's so many. I can't do it in a day. I can't do it in a weekend. So some of them that I know will be fine, like my brother got me a hibiscus tree. It's beautiful. But it needs to stay out as long as possible. Now some people feel that, it's because my mom passed in February. For some reason it flowered in February. And I didn't change anything. I mean, it wasn't like the whole tree flowered. It was just a couple. And I had come home from work and one of the kids said something. And I went like that. I went to answer him and I'm like, look, there's flowers. They're like, oh my God, there's flowers. Because the hibiscus, it really needs the heat and the sun. So it'll flower mostly then. And then once I bring it in, there'll be some buds and the flowers, and then it'll be done until the spring. And it doesn't usually bud in the house. Usually it's after I put it out in the sun and blah, 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 and they'll start to bud. So it was just a little odd. And then my brother got me a yellow hibiscus, and no, I'm sorry, Deborah at work got me a yellow, shrub. The other one's a tree, like a braided. It's really pretty. Hope I don't kill them. Anyway, well, they kind of get big too, but I'll keep them out till right before the frost, and then I'll bring them in. But like you said, they all take room. Do I have any pictures?
I have all of mine out on our deck right now. I don't know if our security cameras show okay, so all of mine are outside.
They look nice. They look great.
There's 67 plants on those shelves though that have to go back in my house. That are all huge now.
How many bedrooms does it have?
2.
But then you have a living room, dining room, and kitchen.
Yeah.
But see, it's gonna take up the windows fast. So that's the thing.
So,
you only have so many windows.
When I moved in,
oh, here's a stargazer.
We bought. Oh, they're so pretty.
That was my mom's. It just started flowering. There's a big picture. There's a close up. I said, I used to take pictures of my kids.
Yeah, my phone is all plants and
oh, my mom had made that with earrings.
That's pretty.
Yep, I put a light on it. My husband was, I'm like, I don't care if you don't want it. I didn't ask you. He's like, well, it's on my side of the bed. So then I went and put a plant.
At least it's not razor blades or something.
I went and put a plant over there. He keeps moving it back. I keep putting it there. I heard him say something to one of the kids. But anyway, his dresser. Okay, they're our dressers, but anyway, he calls that his dresser. Well, this stuff wasn't here. I put that stuff there, but he had like stacks of clothes and paperwork there. How am I supposed to dust that? It's a mess. It needs to be dusted, so I asked him to clean it. So, so I took his stuff, and there's towels on top of it. There's a basket with all his stuff, and that's the stack of clothes that I made one stack of. And it's not staying there though. It doesn't belong there. You need to put it in your drawers.
I moved my husband's dresser into our walk-in closet because he works for the township. He has stacks of art because he's on the road crew for Berks, Douglas Berks.
Gotcha.
So he has stacks of orange. And I'm like, you don't have enough room in your drawers between your good t-shirts, your work t-shirts, and then your like actual work t-shirts.
I can't say too much because my closet is full. He tried to give me a hard time, and I said,
but is the majority of your closet bright orange?
No, and it's not a walk-in closet. And he has 3 whole stacks to the ceiling, and I allowed him some hanging stuff. I said, you keep saying stuff, I'm gonna put it on your side of the bed, on the floor.
The only thing he's allowed to hang is hoodies, and not the work ones.
Well, no, like suits and stuff like that, like different things for events, you know what I mean?
Suits.
He doesn't have to go to funerals and weddings?
He wears jeans.
Well, my husband, No, my
Have
husband
you
would
ever
like.
actually seen him?
I did, and my husband's the same way. However, there are certain events that you need to have a suit for. You are not a redneck. You might think you're a redneck. You might sometimes act like a redneck, but you don't need to look like a redneck.
We're going on a cruise with my parents next year. It's not his first cruise, but like when we go on cruises, we don't do like the whole main fancy dining room
Gotcha.
thing, right? My mom was like, so we're gonna have dinner together like every day, right? And I was like, I have to buy Rob clothes to wear today.
He doesn't have any khaki pants. Now, Chris only has one pair of khaki pants, and he only has 2 suits, meaning like suit pants,
Yeah.
2 shirts, 2 ties, like, so he doesn't have like a lot. However, it does make a difference when we go to funerals or weddings and stuff.
So we're gonna wait until, like a month or so before the cruise. I said we're gonna get you like 2 pairs of black pants, 2 pairs of khaki pants, and enough shirts.
But you can
And then
still
you're
wear
just
jeans.
gonna rotate them.
Yes. Yes.
Like, it's a 9-day cruise, you don't need a whole
And
wardrobe.
you know what? To some degree, some of these pants are more comfortable than jeans. And the material for work, you should wear jeans because it's denim's thicker and it'll save your skin. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
however,
They actually,
the reason,
Township
like,
has
look what you're
uniform
wearing.
pants.
So they're a little thinner. Oh, okay.
They're
They're
kinda
usually a
like
little
denim, but they're
like
gray.
Dickies.
Yeah.
Like Dickies.
And they have a lot of pockets on them.
Like painters.
Yeah.
Is he good? Come on, Mr. Fiddler. You know it's in. Make it take forever. So what I did is I took my mom's. So behind my door when you come in my bedroom, like I did it like a little thing like this. All here was not here. All this stuff was not here. Chris, he's like, where does stuff come from?
Oh, looks cute though.
I think it looks nice, and I organized my scarves, and you know what I'm saying? Well, as I was cleaning out her stuff, I put all the owls in one spot. I put all the stuff in another spot. I put baskets all over. Oh my God, so many baskets stick out. Oh, here was the tomatoes.
Looks familiar.
I'm like, what am I gonna do with all these damn tomatoes?
Yeah, I spent a whole like Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning.
So that's the yellow hibiscus. You can see one of the pinks back there. He just stuck from the other side. There it is.
That's pretty.
And then all these zinnias, geraniums. Because I have to do the repotting as well.
Yeah.
There's one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big project too.
Oh, there's my 2 sons. All grown up.
Yeah.
Somebody left their glasses here, let me go out here and see whether they're still out, all right?
I think they all left.
Yeah, they met this, for sure. Okay, so my guess would be, that would be about where Dave Hughes was sitting.
There was somebody sitting next to him as well.
Alright, we'll be back in the regular session at 10:02. Alright. One thing actually, I'll bring up since this whole bank thing we discussed, trying to diminish access, like we said. There is a thing here, this, Sheila, is this for all of us to sign? This Tompkins Bank about the,
No, that's just, the top one's for you to cancel it, the others were just examples from before. So you're gonna cancel that credit card, and then you asked for, Kristen told me you wanted copies of, the new one will be a municipal card and have one for each individual, like Dennis, the manager, Barry. You shouldn't be using, like it typically used to be in the manager's name, and he would just give it to whoever needed to, or a colleague would give it to whoever. They said it can't be that way. It has to be a municipal card with individuals' names who would have access to use it. But it's the same as before, where it's $5,000 like a account, and as you use it, you have to replenish it. So that top one is for you to close the current
The
one.
one that they say we shouldn't have.
Correct, and the packets are the information for getting the new one.
Well, now, who do they recommend has one? I mean,
What I just said, Dennis,
just so
Barry, the road crew, me or the manager, whichever.
And so what do we wanna do with that? I mean, so there's.
I don't need a card, I'll use my own
So
card.
we would need a motion to close, the account 842-X663-3278, and then do the cards, but I mean, who we think needs cards for municipal stuff?
Barry uses it, Dennis uses it for online stuff, for training.
I know the cord was used for PSATs at the convention.
Yes, and for PSATs, thank you, Galen, I didn't think of that.
Different schools and things like that, I think
Yes.
they use that to book registration.
That is, if we do Dennis,
We don't have to fill out the other paperwork right now for the credit card, I mean, we still do need to give it attention, we shouldn't wait too long, but
Well,
at least need to think about it.
and we think about it till Tuesday, who we wanna have cards named to?
Correct.
So do we wanna at least make a motion to cancel this one?
Let's get that done, sure.
And then Tuesday, that's what she said, it's this.
What is the credit card number, or credit card name on it?
You gotta, I don't know whose name's on it. Close the account, it says close checking 842XX
It's got a number on it. Account number.
X3278.
So it kind of looks like a checking account when you get the bank statement, but it's a card that you're using.
So it's the card we approved whenever we approved.
Correct.
And now Richard is the.
And then they give the receipt, which speaking of which, we're missing 2 receipts from Rich.
So we wanna close that account. And then whatever, figure out who gets a card that has an municipal.
So, I'll make a motion that we cancel the current credit card we have.
I'll second. Roll call, Mr. Steve.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
And then on Tuesday, we'll figure out who gets this, whatever municipal card that the bank's trying to explain to us that we need instead of somebody, whatever. Right, is that all right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So now that means that's done, that's another access soup to nuts kind of thing. All right, any other motions that we're clear to do before we adjourn?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Harold.
Fill those spots, or?
All right, let me pull this, all right. So, if anybody, if we're ready to appoint a township secretary, not necessarily assistant township secretary, if we're ready to do township secretary, assistant township secretary, township treasurer, yeah, no. Actually, there's no official assistant township secretary, or secretary, or treasurer, there's only actually township treasurer. There's no assistant.
You can make whatever assistance you wish.
Alright, well, anyway, so the first one will be township secretary, do we wanna make a motion? for-
Township secretary, assistant.
Well, do we wanna do township secretary right now, or we just wanna do assistant township secretary?
I don't care.
Anybody wanna do township secretary, or we wanna skip that and do assistant township secretary?
Assistant?
Alright, so,
So assistant?
yeah, so who wants to make a motion about somebody for assistant township secretary? Are we making a motion to appoint Harold as assistant township secretary? Alright, I'll make a motion to appoint Harold as assistant township secretary.
I'll second your motion.
Roll call, Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Now, on here would be township treasurer, but do we wanna make a motion to change it to assistant township treasurer?
Assistant, that's fine.
Even though that's not normally one of our. Alright, so anybody want to make a motion for someone for the assistant township treasurer?
I'll make a motion to appoint Tim Bittler as assistant township treasurer.
I'll second that motion also.
I thought you were,
Both of us, right?
You do it.
so you can do a motion for both of you. if
Oh,
that's what you
I
want.
don't wanna make a motion for myself.
Well, that's
Make
right.
Someone else can make a motion for the two of us, I don't wanna make a motion for myself.
Alright, so you make that motion, you second it.
I did.
Alright, roll call, Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
Mr. Rose.
Yes.
I'll vote yes.
I'll make the motion then to appoint assistant
Township
treasurer,
treasurer.
yes.
What was that, the assistant?
Another assistant township treasurer would also be Jeff Rose, so 2 assistant township treasurers.
Yes, I can.
Did you have a second?
I will,
No, I guess you got it. Alright, roll call, Mr. Steve,
yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bittler. Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Another yes. Are we ready to appoint a township recording secretary?
No, was you closing the can?
No.
That's,
Al's gonna be recording secretary.
I'll make a motion to appoint Harris the recording secretary.
Have a second?
I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Steve.
I'll abstain.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
yes.
Oh, yes. And we would need a,
Who did the motion on that? Tim?
Yeah.
Who was the second?
Yeah, I was,
Okay.
I'm sorry. That's your name.
I
and
was,
we have the township open
Was it
records
Shaw?
officer.
Assistant.
The deputy, township deputy open records officer. Right, so who would, anyone like to make a motion for the township deputy open records officer?
You say you again. What did we say?
We said Harold, I thought.
I thought it was Harold, but.
Yeah, we said
I'll
Harold.
make a motion for Harold.
I can't make a motion.
I'll make a motion for Harold. Right to know deputy secretary.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
No, yes. Alright, so we would still have the municipal authority open records officer, if we wanna think about that. And then regular township open records officer, we have the assistant staff, so. Anything else, anybody, any other positions, anything, other positions you think are imperative at this moment?
I think you've covered it.
All right.
I think hearty congratulations to Mr. Steve, Mr. Rhodes, and Mr. Bittler should be noted for the
Change your name to Richard.
Any other thing for?
You trying to say I'm a dick?
No. No.
Any other discussions, Harold, are you all right to do it until Tuesday, or since?
Yeah, I know the hour's late. The only thing I will say is, we are, as in the Geiger County Sewer Authority, are looking to extend the line that we applied for a $500,000 grant. Well, we're looking to go up Chapel Road. And however far that takes us, to catch a couple additional homes up there.
That's nice.
And I have a resolution that I need people to sign, it's one of those,
You did before?
yeah.
Alright, you do that.
Okay.
Well, and I'd like to just make, I guess, is it, without Richard, is that just a motion or just a comment? About, at this point, we relieve Richard Orwig from his
I would
duties.
do it, I am the form of a motion.
Alright, I'd like to make a motion that as of now, we relieve Richard Orwig from his manager duties.
Pursuant to section 119.
I'll second that.
As per section 119. We have second roll call, Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler, Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Anyone like to make a motion to adjourn at 10:12?
10:12, what an early day for a meeting.
So moved.
Gail, and I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, Sheila, so I saw